like 80 to 90 because you can't go quite as fast out here. But
yeah,
that was not slowing down.
So the avalanche towing would get 8.25, 8.02, 6.57, 8.8. While the Titan, let me swap to the Titan, 7.277.
Hold up.
5.39.
You have a spreadsheet of
Is that all uphill?
with all of your tow vehicles.
No, I have an app.
Okay. And somehow you still have to carve a tunnel to get into your garage.
Yes.
Okay. You're killing me.
Yeah, Titan needs an auxiliary gas tank. Any listeners out there can get me an auxiliary gas tank for a Nissan Titan.
Right.
Hit me up.
Let's go ahead and kick it. I can fake it from this point on.
I'm glad everybody knows that. That's good.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Music, anytime.
It's
There
there,
it
isn't
is. It is now.
It's a little low. Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of Lemachamp or Lucky Track Dog League you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate, as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, news and notes in the world of amateur endurance racing, and whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough and Chrissy gives us just the tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental. And we are Everyone Racers. Thanks coming back and listening to another Detroit Diesel episode of our podcast. It is episode series 149. So if you're not driving a car like literally all of us were doing until last night, go ahead and bust out that E1R bingo card. It hasn't changed, but it's still fun. We'll kick this off with, well, you know what, Chris, what you working on?
You have like a mental interview voice.
Mental interview voice.
Something like that.
We've all
Yeah.
got our broadcast voice on tonight.
My
Great.
regular voice is worn out from yelling at everyone this weekend. Stop passing under yellow.
Slow down in the paddock. Chris,
Yeah.
tell us
what-
what,
what-
you're
Put your
Well-
mask on.
Well, hey, last week at this time, I was out in the garage working on stuff, as evidenced by my lack of participation or video in the last episode. So, but since then, I I've still been working on stuff. For example, I fixed the generator at the track because we loaned it to Chrissy's dad, and it was before when they had a power outage, and he was right when he gave it back, he said, twice it shut off quick and then came back on. I don't know what's wrong with it. I ran it, then I had it, and I ran it for an hour while I was working on the boat, having it power the sander and the fan and stuff, just see how it was. Once it hiccuped, and that was it. I said, it's probably got, something in the gas or something, because the gas isn't, it came out of the Solstice.
Gas. Yeah.
Came out of the Solstice. I was like, well, the gas in the Solstice was pretty rough when I took that all out. So I took it all apart at I got to the track, thought I started up, it just wouldn't go. Damn it. All right. So the next day, after my instructor clinic, then I started taking it apart, and it's one of those suitcase inverter ones, so you got to really take it apart to get to it. So I got the carb out, I cleaned the carb, everything looked perfect. There wasn't a speck anywhere because it only has 50 hours on it, and I drain the gas every time I use it. So after cleaning the carb and not getting anything done, and then I start poking around online, and then I see, wait a minute, these have a very sensitive oil level switch. And what happened was, when the oil was like a couple ounces low, I could still, I even know I had opened it and looked, and I could see it. All right, it's right there. If I tilt a little bit, I can see the oil coming up the thing. All right, that's fine. Should be plenty, right? Nope. When it was running and the oil was pumped, it was just enough to trigger the low oil level switch, not pressure, but level, which the generator would save itself by cutting spark, and then it would slow down, and the oil would fall down into the pan, and then level would come back up, and it'll be fine. Repeat. So all that work, taking it all apart, turns out I just needed to add
3
2
ounces of oil.
And it's fine. But hey, and other great news, I know my carburetor is nice and clean. I know how to take the thing apart now.
So clean.
So there's that.
Which not a bad skill in the world of like, all the
Small
crap
engines.
that they put in. Yeah. And they put
Yeah.
in gas these days. It plays havoc with small engines.
And everything looked great in there. So
does this mean you didn't need to buy the generator trackside?
no, I still need to buy a generator trackside
Okay.
because the 2000 watt
We
Yamaha
can't
generator
run.
I have is just barely inadequate to run the air conditioner for the trailer, like just barely. So if you want a 2000 watt Yamaha generator in great shape with 50 hours and a fresh clean
And
carburetor,
a fresh clean carburetor. Yeah, exactly. And enough oil.
and enough oil, get in touch with me. It's been really well maintained. It's a great little unit. I really wish we could keep it, but it's just not quite big enough for that. So fortunately, I was talking to someone that we were paddocked with, and he was like, "Yeah, I just need to sell my 2400 watt Yamaha generator. You want it?" Yep, sounds good. So deal. Also
Very,
cut a
very
hole
good.
in the
Stop
wall.
squeezing the springs on your microphone. You're making
you can
lots
hear
of
that?
clunky noise.
Sorry.
Yes, I can. That's okay.
Also cut a hole in the wall of the trailer while at the track, a 6-inch vent hole to vent the air conditioner out of. And when the air conditioner worked, it was lovely.
So you listened to what Uncle Dave told you to do.
Well, I'd already bought the air conditioner long ago, and I couldn't return it to get a 2-hose
Literally.
one.
Literally last year,
Yes.
this time
Okay.
for
All
this
right, yeah.
race, we bought it.
Too late. Uncle Dave is absolutely right, and you should follow Uncle Dave's advice in most things, including this one. So, what else did I do? Oh, as soon as
How much
Chrissy
did
arrived,
your butt pucker when you started cutting the 6-inch circular hole in the side of your trailer?
it was all right.
All right.
We have a flap to go over it.
Yeah.
I know, but that's still a big hole
It is, and it's a big hole in your pristine trailer.
that you
Well,
worked so hard putting all together.
Yeah, but that's fine. I just took my time. I did it properly, and it looks good, like for what it is. No worries. I just need to put a little caulking on the inside that I didn't have with me, the RTV on the outside. That's fine. What else? Oh, as soon as Chrissy got to the track, we swapped the brake pads on because they did arrive from Porterfield on Friday, 26 days after ordering them. But hey, that's all right. They made it. Got those on the Mazda. And then unpacked and also did a once over on the Mazda because it's got a couple little extra clunks and things that it didn't have before this weekend. So I think we finally put an end to those 250,000 mile sway bar end links. That's what it's. That's what it is.
It's something. I'll tell you that.
So
It's
today,
always something.
today I bought
A little more than that.
aftermarket rear sway bar for that car, including
Nice.
Speed 3 end links on the GRM form. So that's gonna be on its way, which it needed. So that's it.
Awesome.
Jeff,
Mental.
Chrissy.
Oh, wait.
or mental. Everyone say
Mental
someone
always
else's
goes
name.
last.
Everyone
Hurry up.
shout a name. 1, 2, 3.
Mental,
Chrissy.
when you read the intro, you always go last, Jeff. Why are we teaching you this?
I didn't know we had a plan like
I
that.
know we had a
I don't
plan.
either. I don't think it's ever that
149
organized.
episodes.
49 episodes. We've never followed the order before. Chrissy, why don't you go?
Sure. I packed. We raced, or at least went on the track. I drove to the track. I drove back from the track. I drove on the track. We'll talk about that later because that's our main topic. And when I got home yesterday, it was Chris said it was the hottest day of the year, but not sure if-
96 in Pennsylvania.
It was
That's
hella
pretty
hot.
damn hot.
On what day?
yesterday.
Yesterday was
Yesterday.
pretty damn hot.
Yeah. So and I had to mow the lawn. So I did that, which is always fun. And then we're gonna go away again because we deserve a vacation, and it's a couple days that we don't have to do a whole lot. So we're gonna go away. Yeah, work's busy. Check that out on your bingo list.
Which is why you are getting this in your podcast feed on a Wednesday morning instead of a Thursday morning.
Correct, because we have requested, because we're going to go away, requested to move this day another day.
We don't have to upload it tonight. We can
That's
upload
true.
it tomorrow and be right on schedule. It's up to you,
Yeah,
Jeff.
but
We should be on schedule.
Let's just
Jason and
give 'em
Bill
what-
in the world, like their entire world revolves around listening to us fools.
they can also just
However-
listen to
Yeah,
us
but-
later.
Every
on
time that
Thursdays.
this has happened, every time that they've gotten it early, they have actually bothered to reach out and go, "Ooh, what a surprise!"
Oh, what a
So-
surprise! It's early.
Yeah,
All right, we
exactly.
could go early.
It's enough, Jeff. I want to hear about you. What are you doing?
Well, we left the podcast last week, and I still had a few things to do in the Miata, the Mighty Miracle Miata that we were taking to the NASA track day. And I have to say that the Kirky went in very well. The fluid change went very well, but it rained on us like Noah's frickin' Ark. And I could not have, when we were loading the trailer to go to Pittsburgh to the track day, I could not have been wetter if I jumped in the pool. And this dampness followed me, I think, until Tuesday morning. I think that's when I finally dried out.
That's today.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Because, of course, none of my cars have air conditioning. The only really good air conditioning I had all weekend long was in Liam's AE86 or 86, whatever the hell it is.
That's so sad.
That thing has the greatest air conditioning in the world. But I will report that the seat mount, the Kirky, thank you, Wartburglar Aaron, for giving us the Kirky that we gave him 100 years ago out of the boat. It mounted low, really low. Like,
Well, that's its job.
like this low.
Yeah.
I can sort of see. So bad
You're,
I needed
you're
a
too
butt
used to
pad.
you're too used to driving your truck
No, I don't drive my truck.
because you're used to seeing over the hood. You don't need to see over your hood in
No.
racing.
I needed a butt pad to feel like I could see the track.
Your butt pad was pretty fancy, I have to say. Is it from something?
Is it from? It is a bamboo like office chair, like correct your ergonomics in your office chair kind of butt
That's what
pad.
it looks like.
Yeah. I bought it for my wife because everyone said it's the greatest one ever, and she hated her office chair, and she immediately got it and said, "This makes it worse." So I mean, I can show you, like, behind me we have like the place that office chairs come to die.
There's multiple of them.
Purple one with butt pad.
The purple one, it looks like they look like racing seats. Wow, there's this. Oh,
Yep, there it is.
I just fell down.
We have the one that totally wasn't stolen from Penn State Berks.
We have one of those. It's
And
not
then-
stolen from travelers on the other side.
Yeah, and then we have the one that Josh is playing his video games in, and we have the one that has now moved to the garage because my wife in desk chairs is like Goldilocks.
Yeah, she's like Goldilocks. I was just gonna
Goldilocks,
say the
yeah.
same.
Yeah, so that's what I did. And it was so hot yesterday, and I agree with Chris, it was hotter than hell. I didn't move the car out of the trailer or the trailer out of the street until 10 minutes before the show and 10 minutes after the show was supposed to start. So I'm literally sweating because I just came out from outside. That's it.
Nice.
Mental, what are you working on?
So before we got on there, we were aggressively running pod. Chris, of course, asked me how did the drive go, and the drive home from Shelton, Washington. And I did the math on this with an additional 450 miles I could have driven from Mexico to Canada. But I drove from Shelton, Washington, 2,200 mile round trip. My plan was to drive until I was tired. And I pulled into my driveway going, this is a really comfortable car. My wife sent me a text. She said, "Hey, you've been at it since 6 this morning. You okay?" And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to see you about 45 minutes. I was outside of the city by this point. Did that. I've been teleworking.
So what is the total single, like, door-to-door hours that you were driving?
The way there didn't count because I stopped a lot and took a lot of goofball pictures and was just literally not in a hurry. I wanted to kind of enjoy the drive up there. I think it was the total road time was scheduled for 17 and a half hours with
Holy
gas.
crap.
Well,
So
and then
considerably
that
less
doesn't
than that.
right. It doesn't include stopping for fuel or food or anything like that.
Going really fast.
It just does the math on it's this many miles, you'll average this many miles an hour. So I had to make 4 gas stops. And then obviously I'm going to eat, and every now and again I got to go to the bathroom. So yeah, coming back from there, if you add that into the average and then adjust for speed, it took me 16 and a half hours.
It's a freaking long time anyway. It's just a long time.
16 hours is really long for a solo trip.
It is.
I mean, Donnie will be like, man, that's not long.
If you're not
Yeah.
sitting in an air-conditioned Barco lounger,
Seriously, that car makes
It's
it just
designed to eat
eats
the miles. Yeah, I get you.
it
Yeah.
does. Yes,
Like nothing else.
Yeah, and like the because I'd done the shocks last week, got those patched up, ready to go, did a couple of road test drives, and then off I went. And because the car had sat for a couple of days, it for about like 30 minutes didn't want to idle at stoplights. I mean, it did, but it was like just, and the key was like a little grumpy about wanting, key not detected. It's right here. Don't tell me that. And I think once it got on the highway, it's like, okay, all is forgiven. Let us now go fast. So. Yeah.
Do you want to say what your car is for everyone that doesn't know, perhaps?
Yeah.
Of course, yes. And I've got Chris and Chrissy's 2007 CLS AMG 6.3, the big boy.
It's now yours. It just was
It is,
ours.
Yeah.
It is. It was.
You
it
could
was.
you could say
I
it's
purchased
my
it.
Mercedes that I
It's
bought
my
for
Mercedes.
Chris.
Yes, and we know it's my Mercedes because it's already broken once. So
Yeah, but you fixed it. And that's all good.
I did fix it.
I'm not sure it's yours if you fixed it.
If it helps. So, and I actually tried.
I was about to yell news and notes. Good thing you said something.
I'm trying to record this. I want to put a video out there because I watched about a dozen videos on how to replace the air shocks on that one in E classes. And they all suggested separating the upper A-arm mount from the shock, and using a hammer, tapping on the bottom of it and separating the ball joint. And I tried that and it did not work on either. And of course, you never want to use a pickle fork because it's just going to destroy the rubber bushings.
Every time.
And I didn't use a pickle fork, but I was kind of prying on it, trying to get it on there. And on the driver's side, one of the rubber bushings made me nervous when I put it all back together. So I went ahead and got on FCP Euro and I ordered another set because it's 4 bolts. And those came in today. So I'll be doing that this weekend, but it's not going to take me very long at all. It's 3 bolts holding it in place and 1 holding it to the suspension. And the way it's set up, you don't have to do an alignment or anything after. It just bolts right
The car
in.
is surprisingly easy to work on. Like, it's just logical. It makes sense. There's access.
Yes.
Like,
It's German. It is
The-
very precise.
not all German cars are like that, though.
No.
So
But it is way more German than all of my Porsches and my Volkswagens, in that everything I pull off that car is heavy. Dear God. I mean, those shocks, those got some heft to them. And the rebuilt ones I got from Arnott were even beefier and heavier on there. And I am also pleased to report that the undercarriage that had come off back in January when I drove out to Laguna or Willow, when I drove out to Willow Springs, I'd pulled that off and done a really ugly fiberglass job, but just to make sure that it was still functioning aerodynamically, and got that all mounted back up on there. And despite a few 55-mile-an-hour runs, it is all still securely up underneath that car. So
excellent.
Cool.
Nice job.
All right.
and then that's what I've been working. And then I had to work on my pool today because it's hot here.
News and notes time. Who's got one? I got one.
You got one.
Get
Go
your
for it.
butts down, everyone. The Gulf livery is back, people. Gulf Oil and McLaren have struck a deal not just for Formula One, but also for road cars. The aquamarine and orange will be back. Not only that, but they're going to be sporting Gulf logos. So it's not just a color deal. It is also a symbol deal. And it's going to be there. Yeah. Road cars, street cars, Formula
my
One, all of them.
shirts, plural, and my jacket and my shoes and my watch and everything that's like, oh, it's so played out, blah, blah, blah. Back in fashion. Don't care. Love my Gulf stuff. Love it. Would paint my house in Gulf colors if I wasn't married.
I so go back and forth between Martini and Golf.
And there's nothing wrong with Martini. I just like Gulf.
Yeah. Who else got a story?
So, here we all are trying not to die, and especially if you live in New York, there's lots of stuff. So Ohms, listen up, because not only can you get the Rona and die in NYC, but you can die on a scooter. Article on Gizmodo. So in New York, they had the Revel scooters. Now, you've heard everyone go off about bird scooters. There's a hysterical Instagram account called Bird Graveyard, and it's just all the things that people do to bird and lime scooters because they hate them, and they're cheaply made and they're easy replaceable. But these are full size electric scooters that are 30-mile-an-hour capable. So it's actually like Scooty or my Yamaha Vino. But because they're electric, they don't require any sort of a license, and Revel Scooters has not required you to get any training on them. So 2 people in last 8 days have died straight up, no longer on this earth because of these dumb scooters, and the lawsuits are stacking up. Yeah, because everybody's home, might as well sue somebody. So
might as well run around in your little scooter in Manhattan.
Right, exactly. And let's make a list of places you would not want to ride a scooter untrained. And I'm pretty sure right after Beirut is New York City. But
I've never been there though, so I don't know.
Yeah, they were letting these people loose on these scooters, and anyone who didn't see this coming, it's almost like someone went in and bolted the door shut on their legal department, and all the guys are like, "No, this is a dumb idea. Don't do it." And they're like, "Money, let's get money." Big surprise! Revel announced today that they are pulling out of New York City.
Yeah, if you had a driver's license or could fake it on the app, you could literally unlock a rideshare 30-mile-an-hour full-size electric scooter in New York City.
It is back when we were at Atlanta, right before we left, those were starting to make their way into downtown, full-size electric scooters, and they had like little lockable compartments on there. And I thought these make sense in urban areas, but there's a lot of people don't understand that you don't steer a scooter, you lean. Non-bikers.
Yeah,
scooter fans everywhere.
It's not like the little lift ones or lime or whatever the other ones are.
Exactly.
They're basically a razor.
That's the bird
an electric
scooters.
razor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're also, they do
those
like
up too bad.
10 versus 30.
Yeah. The West Coast supposedly is just littered with those bird scooters in rideshare. So
yeah, they are.
Anyway, who else got a story?
I got one. AER announced they're going to be implementing a new points-based infraction system. So you do wrong, you get points. Points are not good. You're not number one with more points. They're going to publish a list of infractions, apparently. John Colsey said these span the gamut from dangerous on-track activities to more minor off-track offenses. That's probably aimed at people like us. None of these will be new to you. Each of these will be assigned a penalty point value, with more dangerous infractions having higher points. Along with the list, there'll be a table of point thresholds, which will trigger penalties, meaning if you reach X points, you get penalty A. If you get Y points, you get penalty B. Unfortunately, those penalties are probably likely to be something lame, like you can't go to a race, instead of something fun. You'll get notified by text when you get penalty points, and it will be published in the event news feed.
Oh, that's the worst.
So
Shame.
all the other douchebags.
I don't have my
Shame.
Wait, let me get out.
Shame.
Shame. Shame. My name's John Colessa. You sped in the pits. Shame.
Yep.
Oh, no.
They're also adding a column to the stints and stops page, which will show everyone's current penalty points total. I like that they're going to shame some of these people. They deserve it.
I totally deserve it.
Well,
Quickly
and
to
I think it's with this race crew. I don't think it's most of them. I think there's a couple troublemakers that aren't like within the clique, and they're the people that they don't want around. And it doesn't mean that they're not even.
Name.
Some maybe so, but I think and I don't even think that they're just like Lemon's crew that are funny. I think they're
just D-bags.
There's douchebags.
How do you have like extra douchebag? Like we already said that.
Didn't John suspend?
They do have, they have douchebags of douchebags in AER.
The quotient is higher.
The quotient, sure. And again, I know not everybody is a fan of John's. I've talked to him. I like him. I understand what he's trying to do. I think he's got a good vision. I just wish all of his racers understood that vision, because there's a huge percentage of them that just don't get it. And what kills me is they come in there and they think, well, I have money and I have this expensive car, so you'll do what I say.
What to do?
Yeah, and John's like, no, I'm pretty sure I own the race series.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm going to give some props to John too. Early in the series, he suspended his own business partner for on-track infractions. So I don't think it's not you're John's friend, so you're getting suspended. I think he's got douchebags to deal with. And I'm
Right.
glad
And,
he's
and
dealing with it.
with the hardware that shows up in AER,
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
yeah,
I was gonna say that.
you've got to be
Yeah.
hard.
Because the
Just
speed
period.
differentials are lethal at this point.
Right.
Like a Spec Miata and a GT3. I mean, the Spec Miata might as well be going backwards, or might as well
Right.
be riding a Rebel scooter compared to what else is going on. Really.
All right, let's move on.
Exactly.
No coming races. Okay, we have some fun things going on. Lucky Dog League is going to make their East Coast debut, which is so exciting, at the world-class Charlotte Motor Speedway, designed and built in 1959 by NASCAR's Burton Smith. With a illustrious 60-year history, CMS features a 2.28 17. This is really thorough. 17-turn
We don't need to read all of that.
Roval. Well, I wasn't going to, but then I'm like, actually, I'm kind of interested.
Quit
Roval
screwing
Road.
up a rhythm, Jeff.
Sorry.
I can recover. It's cool. Roval road course oval, featuring twisting left turn chicanes and a front. This is a little bit. This is
Left,
excessive.
right turns, not just left turns. We don't want people to think
Left.
this is an oval. It's a
Left,
oval.
right turns with some chicanes, blah, as 24-degree banking. Roval gain reputation. This is a lot. Okay. It is going to be awesome. Registration is open. Early dog discount ends August 1, which is very, very soon. You better
Did you
figure
see
this-
that it's 18 hours of track time? 18 hours. of
That's a
track time?
lot of track time.
And
Three.
at night, they're running under the lights.
Okay, this 3-day Southern extravaganza with 18 hours of track time and both chicanes. It includes running under the lights. I'm sorry, I missed that part. Registration is open. Are you not entertained? Because
Now,
now
go back and read that angrier. Are you not entertained?
You should have just
don't
read
bust on
this.
a read.
I know, but I know you haven't
trying to
seen
be
that.
really excited here.
I know you haven't seen that movie.
No.
Sorry.
Nope.
That's what I give you, mental. Yeah.
Are you not? Because
That was so awesome! Oh my god, go watch that on YouTube. That was
I
great.
don't know. Because on top of all that, Lucky Dog's giving away $10,000 in sponsored prizes. Check out the link in our notes, but don't order now. What? Oh, because she
But
has
don't
a
order
super.
now.
You should have read this.
Yeah,
This is
you can't-
ridiculous.
yeah.
Oh, I'm tired. There's a discount code, Lucky Lemons, one word, Lucky Lemons, just for our listeners. Expect us to have Kathy back because we like her, but she also likes Lucky Dog. We like Lucky Dog. Link in our show notes. Mic drop.
This may be jumping the gun, and I know we don't have any other listener feedback, but actually heard from Carl Applegate through the Facebook's messengers, and he said, "Damn it, I already registered. How do I get my super secret discount code?" So,
Odds honest truth, I would email Kathy. And
yeah,
she'd
that's what I was
probably
going to
do it.
say.
Totally.
I
Carl,
can't promise it. I think she might though.
yep, just call her up. She loves us. She'll do it for you. Maybe.
She's
I don't
a
know.
great person. So
Yes, she's
Yeah.
awesome. All right. So this weekend is the Calm Before the Storm. August 8th and 9th will be an event for Lemons at Thompson, and we're going to be there. WRL is going to be at High Plains, and Champcar will be at VIR. All three major events in each section of the country. That's kind of cool. All happening August 8th and 9th.
let's
Mhm.
go. Let's go.
Lettuce.
About time.
All
Lettuce. What kind of lettuce?
right.
Romaine.
Speaking of romaine,
Nobody likes romaine.
recent results. So
Love romaine.
as we talked about last week, I was with the Lemons folks at the
Green
Ridge
leaf.
in Washington.
Boston.
Chris, I'm sorry, I did not get a chance to put the Merc on the track.
So did you? at
Did you
least
get on
the
track?
at all? That's more the important part. Is to see,
No.
That
see the
is
corkscrew or
so-
the ridge
I
corkscrew
did,
from it and
because I
stuff,
was
like,
gathering
from the track.
media. I was gathering media, so I got to climb the hill a little bit. The bridge is closed, so we couldn't get on there a lot to see anything. In fact, no one who's working with Lemons got to get on the track. We were just a little minimum staff, and we were working hard.
You
But
couldn't do a safety inspection.
don't think I didn't try. I so tried. But Friday was a track day from another organization.
I
so,
saw
yeah,
that. I saw that. Yeah.
Bummer.
I watched the pre-race. I actually really enjoy having the drivers meetings on the Facebook YouTubes
Yes.
because I
Yes.
just like tune in to see what's going on at the track.
The downside is there was still a couple of folks who didn't know where the penalty box was, because I think Nick hosted it.
He did. He did.
Mhm.
If you're
So
not
the-
actually at the track being like, look over there. That's where we'll be. You come here if you need this.
Oh, you mean
Right.
Steve was at the race, so he
No.
didn't know where the penalty box is. Never been.
All right, but it's northeast. Or sorry, northwest. Because I was about to say polite drivers, which is the exact opposite of the Northeast. Polite drivers made some new friends, saw some old ones. I put some names, some faces from a socially responsible distance. So Jay St. Clair, Matt Adair, my fellow judge, Tom Herbert. Of course, I got to see, Chris and Mary and Anton and just a stack of other folks that we've done some stuff with. Great time. It was 47 cars, 6 BMWs, 3 Miatas.
Boring.
3 Hondas, no Porsches, and I got to see in meat space the 999 Corrado. Got to touch it. Well, not really touch it because it's got cooties, but all right. Overall, your winner on laps and Class A was hella shitty. The number 6 boring BMW E30. Actually, all weekend they were battling a cheaty Mustang that had come to us out of Lucky Dog. They were honest about their cheatiness. But they ended up breaking, and a really cheaty, the You Mad Bro V8 powered E36. Now, from a distance, this car looks like it does not belong in lemons, but then you get closer, and it's all of the same kind of lemons crap that we all do. It's just all really well done. They have a multi-tier fiberglass spoiler, but it was made from scraps around their shop. And you have to get within a foot of it to see how bad the fiberglass is. They've got a really nice metal diffuser on the back of it, but they made it out of scrap shelving that they found at the junkyard. So the car is just really well cheaty, all homemade cheaty. And it was a 2-person team. So they lost that one in the pits by their own admission. They also, with the V8, they had to do 2 extra pit stops, but it was a battle right up until the last half hour. Class B, our first-time winners in Class B, they had gotten as high as second in B, was Croco Shit, number 21, in a croc-shaped GTI. They won B by 12 seconds over Dirty Duck Racing in a first-generation GTI. We couldn't even fill out the award sheet on the trophies to announce until the checkered flag had gone because we didn't know. The worst part about this is because Dirty Ducks had won Class B, we had to give them a penalty lap or bump them into A.
You gave
So
him
we
a
had-
single lap.
1 lap.
That's
Ooh.
fair. I think that means
Yeah.
you did it just right.
Yeah.
They were classed
Yeah.
evenly. Yeah.
But it was a genuine nail biter. Didn't see either one of those cars all weekend. They just ran clean, did fast pit stops, and were just throwing down to the last possible minute. Class C was
And
ran
they
out of
didn't
talent.
break, which is very
No.
un-Volkswagen of them.
Very on Volkswagen, yes. I
Tom,
think every other Volkswagen
Tom, it
did break.
can be done. It can be done, Tom.
Yes. Class C was ran out of talent, number 902 Geo Metro. They've wanted this before. And when they showed up at the BS inspection on their hood, they've written out their goal for each race in Sharpie. And then in a different color Sharpie, write the results. And it was want to do this, broke, want to do this, broke, want to do this, barely finished. And then by this point, I think my fellow judge Tom was a little out of it. And he goes, "Oh, how'd you guys do at the Ridge 2020? And the guy just kind of looked at him for a second. And he goes, "Oh, wait, that's this race." Because they really wanted to win Class C. And they did it all right. Also, another team we didn't see all weekend. They just stayed out there. Judge's choice was Nacho Friend, number 664. It was a Toyota Celica. It's a mostly young team. They used to bring nachos to the judges at every race. Obviously, this time we couldn't do that because of the Rona. They had one issue with fuel. Now, everyone out there listening in podcast land understand the sage advice. So Jay was in the penalty box when they came in with a fuel leak. And I said, "Hey guys, here's the deal. We like you, but with fuel, you get one chance. And then I pull you out the track and you got to go on the trailer." As I get out of the car, or as I pull out of the passenger window, Jay leans in and goes, "I'm going to give you another piece of advice. This is a 1980s car. It's not the fuel cap. It's never the fuel cap. It's never going to be the fuel cap. It's some sort of stupid, backwards, weirdo, evapo tank line somewhere that's overpressurizing your tank, and it's coming out of the cap. So if you ever have a fuel problem, Jeff, it's
I hear
never
you.
the fuel cap.
Never the cap.
It's never the cap." And to their credit, they walked over, put the thing up on jack stands, spent several hours going through everything, fixed their fuel line, went back out on the track, Really good, folks. Oryx's choice was the Petty Cash Space Formula None. The husband and wife team that were part of that one spent their 5th anniversary in that Saturday night. I've got a great interview where he's, oh, my loving wife said this is a great idea. And she's just standing next to him, shaking her head. No, didn't agree to any of it. Kind of a deal. The regional was the Bright Hope for Our Future, the Mel Gibson 79 Miata. Name anything that we have all done wrong at a Lemons race. And they did it twice, probably. 3 engine swaps, 2 transmissions, and a rear end. They went through probably 4 bags of oil dry in their pits.
You know what the problem with that is? Is everyone's like, oh, they spilled a lot of oil. No, they were gritty kitties like you wouldn't believe, because you spill it once and you keep working on it, and all of a sudden you're covered in oil dry like you're a piece of fried chicken.
Oh, and every time, like, they come over and they're all powdery and stuff like that, and they were in the penalty box. We would have parked them if they hadn't broke so many times. They're in the penalty box. They, of course, they spent their time working on their actuated spoiler, so they had a spoiler that would kick up and become an air brake.
Very important.
Chris, you're an engineer kind of guy. What would you hook that up to if you wanted it to go from a spoiler to an air brake?
A bowling ball.
A good, yeah. But if you wanted to actuate when you slowed the car down,
A brake.
Your brake light switch.
a brake light switch. Nah, they just had it in a switch. Not even
they had to
mounted.
like push it themselves.
It was hanging by a wire. They had to reach over, grab it, and actuate it. So anyway, but despite all of this, they had a great attitude all weekend. So we had to give them something. And finally, your big one, the index of affluency, was the piston liberation front. So they had this old 68 Jaguar Mark IV that they themed as Harvey Korman, which is a Walmart chain of stores in Australia. And it was 3 different Jags. John Pagel went over there early on Friday to get his inspection out of the way, because it was more than a hack car. It was a hack car on subframes with GM parts and Mark 8 parts and everything. But it was well done, and it passed the Pagel inspection and went on track and just did its best to turn laps and go really, really slow. But it was clean, well done, nice team. So we had to give them the IOE.
Nice. Love
It's
it.
a Jag.
Jag. Hat car. John Pagel inspecting. Good luck.
Absolutely. Hey, if they passed, good for them.
Yeah. If
Rally
you're building a
correspon-
hat car, just email John.
Oh yeah. That's where we started with the boat before we even bought the truck to go under it. We said, so we got this, we want to get a boat and put it on something. What do we do? Yeah. We said, we got an E30 and a Miata, or we can go get a truck. He said, just go get the truck. Okay. Got it. In other news, rally correspondent Santiago got this to us last week, but in our Mad Thrash, we didn't fit it in. Sorry there, but there's still good info. The first Rona rally for the American Rally Association was supposed to run in June, but was postponed. To condense, they ran 2 long stages, 16 and 12 miles, 3 times, which minimized the volunteers.
Yeah.
Well, that way you don't have to, not spread out as much, but fewer people. That's good. To beat the heat, it was all run at night because of rally. Cars left the paddock at 7 p.m. and they didn't finish until 5 a.m. Man,
wow,
that's hardcore.
Awesome.
That's
That
like
is
driving from Las
tough.
Vegas to Sheldon, Washington, really, really fast through the forest at night.
Yeah, right, exactly. With someone yelling in your ear the whole time.
Samir, please listen to
You're
me.
breaking
You
the
must
car.
listen.
Breaking the
Breaking
car.
the car. Samir.
I beg of you. I beg of you.
Paddock space was huge, and each team had plenty of room to social distance. That's great. The event had 2 stage cancellations. The first is when Travis Pastrana's car burned to the ground.
No.
Good job, Travis. And from another roll car.
No, burned to the
Yep.
ground?
Yeah. Santiago
Google
says,
it. To the ground.
No, I will Google it.
Santiago said, this is basically the equivalent of like 25% of a race being under yellow, especially when you're on track to get first. So that's good. 60 cars started, 34 finished. Seems about right for a rally, although many of those are apparently due to nausea and or heat exhaustion. Concrete
At
drain
night,
culverts.
really?
Also, it's hot. It's hot.
Wow.
Yeah. Concrete drain culverts ate a few cars. Overall, went to McKenna Motorsports in a Skoda Fabia R5, which is
Holy
Fabia.
crap, that's amazing.
Limited front four-wheel drive went to Fur Comp Rally and an Evo. NA four-wheel drive was Rally Cats Motorsports and an Impreza. Open two-wheel drive was River City Rally and a Lexus IS. Limited two-wheel drive was River City Rally and an E30, and Santiago was second. Oh, so close. Nice job, Santiago.
It's okay.
Thanks for the report.
All
We do
right.
have listener feedback.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Sorry, I'm getting to it. I was Googling the burnt car from Travis.
Oh, I got to do that.
Yeah, I was going to share the screen so that we could show it to everybody.
Oh,
So
okay.
anyway, we posted a picture of the struggle bus on the old Instagram, and the scrappy yard refugees,
Are the Fugees.
the scrappy yard Fugees posted as a racer and a bus driver. I appreciate this on multiple levels. The Lycon Racing agreed, most accurate post I've ever seen. So the picture was basically a bus that said struggle on it. And I believe Mental said, this is my feelings right now, right?
We've all been there. I posted it on Monday because we were all coming back from the track, and there's a reason we call our post-race shows the hangover. You're dehydrated. You probably haven't had a good poop in about 3 days, and you're
Jeff.
Slightly hungover.
Jeff, you want to enable screen sharing? I'll show you a picture of Travis Pastrana's
Oh,
rally car.
I got it.
I'm not seeing it yet.
This is bad
Not there
pod.
yet?
It is
You have
bad,
to-
but no, it
this
says
is
Jeff
bad
Wakeman has
pod.
started screen sharing.
Oh.
I mean, I
It's
can
not
start to describe it to our listeners. In the
Okay, go
meantime.
ahead. Describe it to
This looks like the apocalyptic TV shows and movies of the bad neighborhood that you just see the shell of a car.
There
on
it is.
fire.
Yes,
That's-
absolutely.
That's it.
Oh, it went away.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I've
I
got a
go
better
back in.
one, Jeff. Hang on.
Oh, you do? Okay, here, I'll make
Yeah.
I'll let you
What
share.
happened? Do we know what happened? Didn't see. No.
I'm going to go with rally
too
car.
much awesome. Too much
Oh,
awesomeness.
Too much
Yeah.
awesome.
Obviously, Travis and his co-driver were
Oh,
fine. So,
wow.
we're not mocking.
Oh.
Holy
Hey.
but yeah,
crap.
when I say
Yeah.
burned to the ground, that's
Oh, you are. There is no
What
parts
was
left
it?
on
Was
that.
it a WRX? Usually he's in a WRX.
It looks like a
it's
sedan.
19
say that.
WRX 2019 WRX STI.
It looks.
So,
it's
yeah.
scroll
Wow.
down. Yeah, that's a good one. There's another one from the front, I think. Oh, no. Okay. Because
Yeah.
there's a
Right, but I mean,
Jalopnik article that has it burning from the front. But yeah.
No, I mean
it's
this one though,
awful.
it is just the metal bits left, and even those are melty.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow,
Tires
wow.
melted, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Harsh.
All right.
that's
Well,
pretty bad. All right. Racer Rona reaction. iRacing
the-
still happening.
Yes. So we had the Lemons. Lemons is in their season 3 of the I Suck at Racing League. I think I told you guys this on our group chat, but if you guys had a chance to listen, because obviously we were all busy, so we asked Hamza, because he understands machine interface and he's a smart person and entertained. We're going to get fired. Hamza was way too good, but you could tell as he was about 4 beers into it, but still no references to ex-president's genitalia. But yeah, he was on spot.
Hobbs is hilarious, but it's like intellectual hilarious. So you actually have to pay, like we're out there just going like, there's a penis on that car.
Oh, man.
It's a dong.
15 minutes into it. If you get a chance, go watch it on YouTube. 15 minutes into it, him and Ryan, Bearded Sim Racer, whose YouTube channel you should subscribe to, have figured out how they're going to write a script so that it automatically solves some of their chat problems. I mean, I'm like, well,
Yep.
we're fired. But
hey, it was a good run. We got
it was.
we got
had
paid
fun.
exactly
Now
what
you
we
go-
deserved too. So
The Silly Hats race was won by Santiago, who hacked the CAN bus in his Buick. That's how he does it.
That's awesome.
It was. And then the next one, they had the Volkswagen Auto Group only. So it was Rally Beetles, Porsches, and Jetta TDIs. That one was handily won by Chris Wolfson. And the final race, which was Radicals, Legends, and Trophy Trucks, all of this was at a dirt track, the dirt track out in nowhere with no outside walls. That's what this track is famous for, is there's just nothing to keep the cars in the center. And the last one on that one was also won by Santiago, who got out of his car, went into his house, and used his regular sim racing rig.
Nice.
He is a multi-talented individual, Santiago. That's for sure.
Yes.
For the E1R race recap, we had that last night, Mondays. Let us know if you want to join. Password might have something to do with brakes. Might be Richard Petty, something like that.
Bubba
Made by
Wallace.
Ray Bestis. Yep. Anyway, so we headed to Sonoma because that's where Lemons is going to go on Sunday. Decided to run a little different, though. We ran the Legacy Cup course to start, which I've never run, but hey, what the hell? Give it a shot. We also added the Kia Optima to the mix instead of the Miata and Solstice. So the first race, we had a couple Kias, a couple Jettas, a Legend, and a Mustang. I'm not really sure who won. It wasn't me. I had a black flag because I jumped the start because we did a standing start and I didn't know I was in gear and I started to move and I got a penalty. So that was great. But had a great battle with Tom Pyrick, both of us in Kias. We just went back and forth for about half the race. So that was a lot of fun. And had plenty of crashing with Lamino. That was also good.
That's what Lamino does.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Or as he calls it surprise butt sex.
Yep. Second race, we went to Lanier Dirt Oval in Georgia, and we had a mix.
I'm so mad I missed it now.
I know. We had a mix of street stocks, Pro 2s, Legend dirt cars, and 87 NASCARs. And the Pro 2 was outclassed in this by the other ones a little bit, but it takes a hit well. Good turnout for this one. A lot of good chatter on the Discord. I'm pretty sure Dave won because he's good at this stuff. Unlike the
it's either
rest of
Dave
us.
or Santiago. Santiago shows
Yeah.
up. He's the only really challenge, I guess.
Yep. So we've
good
been
time.
seeing a lot of new folks that are coming in there, and you guys are always welcome. Just understand we're not taking this very seriously, and we have like real racers that will come and do this, and also not take it seriously, which is fantastic. Trevor Andrusco and Patrick Wilmot and all those folks have come on there, and obviously Santiago is a real racer.
We race.
Yeah. Quotes real racers.
Real racers.
Right.
Real racers in
But
quotes.
they're real racers with the right attitude.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it is a lot of fun. As I was driving back, I got a text or a Facebook message. What's the password? And I sent it out. And so get a hold of us early. But the lesson learned from that person that didn't remember the password, get on to your iRacing sim about 20 minutes beforehand, because you're going to have like 7 software updates. iRacing is the new Windows 95.
Got it.
Yep, that's about right.
So was it Sabrina that you gave a password to?
Yep.
I
And it
did-
wasn't for her, but yeah.
Yeah. I also was trading with. I was like, why is this person asking at the last second?
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll see you next time. Quote Sabrina.
Mhm.
Actually, yeah, you know what? Kick him off. You get on there, Sabrina.
Exactly.
You know who else always makes sure to update their computer promptly ahead of time? Chrissy's mom.
Always.
Hi, Chrissy's mom.
Okay, we're going to go into the main topic right now. Main topic time, just so we can get into it. But I just want to say that one of the funniest moments of the weekend is right out in the middle of nowhere, and like a total non sequitur, Bill just said hi to Chrissy's mom.
I think he was eating a bar or a cookie.
But he made sure to do it like in the show. He just kind of like stopped the conversation, like went a totally different way, and then just said, Chrissy's mom. Hi, Chrissy's mom. All right,
Feels right.
main topic time. We already heard the Lemons intro, or I guess discussion from the weekend from Mr. William Ward in the corner there. But we also went to school. We went to the NASA Great Lakes.
We got schooled.
We got schooled, yo. We went to the NASA Great Lakes. Does it have an event name? Pitt Race?
Pit stop.
Pit
We went
stop.
over this before. Come on.
I didn't remember.
Not the pit maneuver. That's Lemons.
No,
but yeah.
different, yes. Yeah, so we went out to Pittsburgh International Race Course, also known as Big Beaver, is what they used to call it. And we had a great NASA weekend. And Mental's gonna, I don't know, ask us about it. What do you want to know?
Just found out today going through the social media. Was any of you in the same group with a silver MX-5 that had a wing that said Danger Girl?
No.
Not
There
that I
was a
recall.
lot of Miatas, man, and they're all
There were a lot of
summer.
Miatas. So
No.
while Jack Baruth was out traipsing across the United States with his son doing BMX tracks, Charlie Baruth, one of my former teammates and the owner of the Maryland, the MX-5 Miata, she was out there too. And I felt really terrible because I could have pointed her at you guys. And even though she would have maintained her social distance, she probably would have eaten a lot better if she'd hung out with that. So I was hoping maybe somebody like, oh, she was on the track, but she's one of those people that went from zero to hero in just a couple of years. And she is aggressive about her education.
Cool. And education it is. We are, we love the education. We think it is a great way to do, you no matter how many times you've been on a track, you can learn at a track day. And I think that's how we're going to start it, because we are going to talk about what we learned, and talk about maybe how we didn't learn as much because of the Rona, and how the honestly, the worldwide pandemic is stopping right seat driving or right seat instructing, and it might have gotten in the way a little bit. So I don't know, who wants to start?
I mean, I can
Well,
start
it's
a
not
little
going
bit by
to be
talking
me.
about. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about what it's like instructing right now, because that's what I was doing. I went out Thursday night for Friday because I had to do another instructor clinic of how to do lead follow. And we had a lot of stuff to read ahead of time. If you're interested
Took a
to know more,
test.
yeah, I did. I took it. There was even a test. But if
And
you
you like
go
studied,
on,
you like stopped a whole lot of things. You were like, no,
did.
I have to study.
Well, I have to get this thing done. So Ross Bentley, as usual, Ross is at the forefront of making this a better sport for all of us and how to instruct. The MSF that he is a part of has some webinars on lead follow instruction. So if you want a little bit more, either from as an instructor or as someone who might get instruction in this way, give it a listen, because it'll teach you more if you're interested. So anyway, I had two students this weekend. I had Jen from Garage Heroes in the ND Miata, and I had Alec, who is a new student, but as we were talking on, this
Hey,
is his fourth or
Alec.
fifth event, said, hey, exactly. I said, hey, do you have any questions for me? He said, hey, do you have a podcast? Yeah.
That's so wrong.
I do. Exactly. So, hey, thanks for listening, Alec. And I think you did a great job this weekend. So Alex had a very nicely customized NA Miata 1.8.
Mental.
Very clean.
These wheels were so sexy.
And
I
he
should have
knows
taken a
it.
picture
He
of it.
knows it. He was like, your car is a... Jeff tried to
I tried to
his
trade him
car.
my entire Miata for his wheels,
And he was
wasn't
like,
down
do you
for it.
know how much this wheels cost? And we're like,
I think,
he said,
like, yeah,
do you know how
I
much
think-
this car costs?
Yeah.
your entire
Nah.
Miata is like worth a wheel. And that's a donut, like a
thing.
spare, like a donut, like a little 13-inch, inflate before using.
Yeah. So anyway, it was nice that I had two students who've both done several of these, and they were, we were able to really work on some good things. It wasn't just, this is a turn in, here is apex. We were really able to work on more advanced things. So that was nice for HPDE 1. So here's some other takeaways. You need to spend a lot more time with an upload and download, because usually you've got that time in the car to be talking to people as they're driving, or in the airplane seat time that you've got sitting in grid for 5 minutes, or things like that. You don't
Cool
have
down
that
lap
time,
or pulling
right?
in the pits.
And you can't give them the immediate feedback of, yes, that was good, or next time, don't brake till later. Or like a lot of times when people are braking, I said, all right, well, don't brake till I say so. 3, 2, 1, brake. Things like that. You can't give them the immediate feedback. So you need to have more time as an upload to talk about what you're going to work on that time. And a lot of it's put it on them is what do you want to work on this time? What are you going to focus on? Because a lot of times people don't know, they just go drive. So you need to focus them in. Then also you need to have a more significant sit down download afterwards to talk about what happened, especially if you're running drills. What did those drills feel like? What did you learn from those? The thing you were going to work on, did it work? What to do differently next time, et cetera. So we spent a good, probably 10 minutes before we started and 15 minutes after we were done, just going through those kind of questions and those thoughts. Because you need to have that communication, and that's the only time you can do it. You also have to have good, clear expectations for everybody going into each session about what we're doing and for the whole weekend. I do think that actually part of that just is about your communication, your signals, because you can use hand signals. People need to know exactly what they are and to respond to those. I think a radio would really, really help. It doesn't necessarily even have to be two ways, but some kind of ability to communicate, I think would help with some mid-course corrections, so you don't use a whole session doing something not quite right, for example. Mental.
Are you listening, Chatterbox? This is your next generation, helmet to helmet, in the span of two cars, very far apart.
Yeah.
No,
That'd be
totally, totally. My notes lower down talk about the need to communicate in real time with the other cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that would really help. Point buys are more of a challenge than usual, because usually you get a student who's gets caught up and they're new and they don't see anything behind them, but usually the instructor's got the right mirror, and you'll come onto the straight and the instructor say, oh hey, let's give a point buy to this Mustang here, and the person may have had no idea, especially if they're new. I mean, the more experienced students, sometimes they'll catch it even before I do, and they do a great job with it. But we had some significant trainings out there this weekend that the instructor couldn't really do anything about. So that's
and I'm not going to
just
call out any specific car that might have been trouble in your session.
Supra. Sorry.
But I haven't been called out.
Ding.
I'm
ding,
Supra.
ding.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Anyway,
No, I don't blame the students, because I think the first time you're on track, you look out the big window in the front and you forget to look in your mirror.
totally.
And if you don't have an instructor saying, okay, are you aware what's happening here? And are you aware what's happening here? And are you aware what's happening here? I almost don't blame them. Now, me in session 2, group 2, we expect to know those things.
It just makes gridding in the right order more important, and you don't know that. And like, we were in Miatas,
Absolutely.
so we said, oh, let's go to the back because Miatas. We were held up the whole time.
There were plenty of in theory, fast cars in your group. There were
tons.
hella Porsches. There were
Supra.
Yeah, Porsches, Miatas, like Vipers, you name
New
it.
Supra or
here we are.
classic Supra?
New.
Okay, because I like when I've done level 1 stuff, I don't want them in the mirror. I'll take the passenger side mirror and I'll just be like, hey buddy, you're doing a great job. Just come off the throttle real quick. Let's let this guy pass us so we can go back to focusing. And
But if you can't tell your person behind you, do that. That's the
exactly.
problem.
And because it is, think about your first time on track. It is overwhelming. And I want all of that overwhelming energy focused out front so you don't hit anything.
Yeah, but by the end of the weekend, they should be recognizing that there's people behind them.
Fact.
Yeah, well, we just recognized that we should be gridding up front, so we did. We weren't the very first car. We were getting to the grid as soon as it opened, and we're in the first 20% of the grid every time. And when we did that, it was perfect. We never quite caught up to the people in front of us, and we never saw anybody behind us. And
so
this is
you were able to leverage your experience as an instructor to recognize where your students were progressing and where they belonged in the group.
Totally. Yep.
Oh.
And fortunately, they were in cars that were of similar speed, and they were of similar speed. So they really didn't, it wasn't like we had one person who was really good and one person who didn't know what they were doing, who was, they were, when you get that disparate skills and speed, it makes it tough. Like if one person's in a 1.6 Miata pedaling it for all they're worth, and another one's got a ZL1 Camaro, they can't be in the same group. It's just not going to work.
Well, and it's having dealt tiny little bit with NASA Great Lakes, and then everyone else that runs NASA Great Lakes, they have received rave reviews. Do you think that was accidental, or someone just kind of looked at this and went, I got a sense of how this is going to play out?
They knew that from the last time they did it. They tried to get, also you have to get instructors for the most part in cars that are faster than their students, just because the instructor is going to be right. The instructor is going to be driving in their mirrors half the time.
But you can tell them the story. You did this differently. You didn't need Guide Zero every time.
No, well, sometimes you're in doing drills and stuff, and you don't really need it.
You did most of the time in the Mazda, the 3.
I did a lot of time in the 3, but eventually those students got fast enough, and we were in the right spot in the run group that I needed something faster than the 3 to stay ahead, because I was just gonna have to pedal that 3, but when I got to look in the mirror the whole time, it makes it a little harder. Anyway, so I guess I'll quick hit some of the drills that we were doing. So we did things like early and late apex drill, where you do super exaggerated early and late apex, and then go back to the middle. We did a red flag drill where they were out by themselves and got red flagged, and as they came back in, then we hooked back up and went back out. We did some weight transfer drills, like where you come through the kink in turn 15 at Pitt, and the cones kind of tightened up the line. So you had to basically just come off the gas and learn that if you just lift off your gas and keep your wheel straight, amazingly, your line tightens up. How about that? So things like that I thought were pretty decent.
Nice.
I will say that I think a 1-to-1 ratio student to instructor seems like the absolute best. I had a little bit of time that way with Jen when Alec had something in the car and needed to check halfway. So then Jen and I essentially just traded off back and forth lap per lap. She would go in front, then I would go in front, and keep going like that. And I think that was effective. And she can follow me all that well, but if I'm not there, is she going to be in the right spot? So it was good to do that. I think 1 to 2, and this is okay, 1 instructor with 2 students, because you can still see what they're both doing, and also they can learn from each other a little bit. Like if you let them talk to each other about what's going on after you prompt the question, that actually was some good discussion. But I think beyond 2 is too many. Like you just can't see what 3 people are doing and remember it and be able to talk to them about it. It's just not going to work. So we were 1 and 2 this time all weekend.
Well, Chrissy and I are going to talk about
Sure.
segment 2, but before we go, I want to mention that my brother, who has never been to he's been to track day, he's never been to like a instructional track day, he's been to like fun track days. He quite enjoyed group 1. We had some decent conversations on the way
great.
back. We talked about what he could learn and what he didn't learn, and not as much like, oh, did you enjoy this drill or did you enjoy this drill? He had some of the same reactions where it would have been nice if someone was in the right seat, because he's had right seat before. But he said it was a great, like the classroom. He really enjoyed.
Yay, that's great.
John Santiago, what's his first name? I'm sorry.
Yeah, John Santiago.
John Santiago. He really enjoyed John Santiago. He enjoyed, rediscussing some of the, things that but you don't really remember all the time. You know what I mean? It's great refresher.
Fantastic. That's really good feedback.
Yeah, that's how we both felt. And he said, I really could see myself doing more track days and making this a normal part of the routine, and to the point where we were talking about what kind of track car we should get that we enable us to, because he said it was a little bit difficult trading car, having the same car.
Totes.
And doing
Always.
back-to-back sessions.
Always.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're in far enough sessions apart, you're usually okay. Like Chrissy and I, 4 and 2 is just enough that we can usually split back and forth. But 1 and 2 are
sometimes,
often...
and also in 4, you don't care about giving up a lap or 2. Like it's
Right.
and it doesn't really matter where I grid. So that's not always such a bad deal.
Mental.
So when your brother buys his own track car, how are you going to find time to change those tires on that too? Because you already have to change his tires on his daily driver, and then you got to put his snow tires on, and then he gets a flat tire, and then he always comes over to your place.
This would be funny. This would be funny if it weren't true.
I don't know that he's a listener either. So
no, he's totally not a listener.
He's got other things to do.
Yeah, exactly. He's building robots that build robots or something. But
he's making the cable work and the internet function.
Yeah.
No, but he actually appreciated it. He said, we talked on the way home. We were like Googling interesting track day cars.
Well,
so.
That's
talk
so
more
fun.
about that. At some point, I was going to give rundowns of I drove 6 cars on track this weekend.
Ooh.
So I was going to give rundowns of these 6 cars I drove.
Yeah,
but
let's do that next.
Let's absolutely.
Really? All right.
Well, no. Before we start going into track cars, because of all of us, I want to hear about Chrissy's experience as a student as well.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the experience for
It's
the
Okay.
course and the
Down
program and the whole thing for everybody, and then we can get into the cars.
Okay.
Because like Jeff, I think some of yours would flow into cars a little bit.
Absolutely.
And Chrissy too. So
Chrissy, you want to talk about group 2, or do you want me to go first?
Either way, you go first and I'll fill in.
Okay. So as you know, I was there in my mighty 1.6 Miracle Miata that is very tired, but is all suspensioned out. And we began, group 2 basically has, Chrissy and I chose to stay in group 2 before Rona, pre-Rona, because you get instructors in the right seat frequently. I won't say all the time.
Sometimes.
Some half
Usually
the
about
time-ish.
probably about 3 times per weekend, I think, is usually where they try to fill in. Though if there are people if there are instructors that are available, they usually just jump in, right? So if they're just like, well, I can't find my guy, or I'll just jump in. So it's usually it's less than half, I'd say.
Yeah. And there's also less classroom. I don't remember how
Yes.
many classrooms we do in regular time, but we had 2 lengthy classrooms. And the stuff was good. We've talked, we could probably talk about whatever show was last year. We talked about eye movement. We talked about some great things. I like ways to talk about, like snakes in, pouring a bucket of snakes in the car.
That was not so. Hold that.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. Yeah.
No. We're going to talk about that in another show.
Okay.
So I wrote a whole bunch of. There we go. I wrote a whole bunch of cues down, and we're going to just do like a whole show on that, because I have a bunch of different theories and like things to think about that are when you're racing, or actually even when you're driving on the street. I think they can be applied. So I have a list. We're going to talk about that at a different show. That was before you joined us on our pre-show. So
okay.
Sorry about that.
Hold on to your thought, Mental, because I'm going to say one more thing and then we'll get to you. I think that the instruction level is still very good. I think the curriculum is very good. I do think it suffered a little bit not having right seat, for some of the same reasons that Chris said, but also because I think we're less likely to be bad. So we're not learning things that are really obvious, like, did you see the yellow flag? We're trying to correct slightly funky lines, and the drills were great. I really like the drills. I wish I had someone there to whisper in my ear, you went a little in on that one.
Great. Completely
on that
agreed.
one.
Or I wasn't using the whole track in 18. Like, I know I wasn't, and I wanted somebody to tell me that I needed to go all the way. Over there.
Hold now.
Yes.
It's like those things that, because we're experienced racers. We didn't miss the red flag during the red flag drill. We didn't have any trouble with the stay all the way left on the whole track and figure out how to drive off
As
the
we
line.
called it, the IOE line.
The IOE line, exactly.
IOE line left.
And
Which
then, like,
one do you want to do?
Like the passing drill. That was fun.
It was
but
fun.
I don't know if I learned from it, because I know how to
No.
pass people all the time.
Yes. All right, Mental, go.
And that's my questions. You guys have both been doing this for a while, and especially over the last couple of years, since we've started this podcast, by your both admission, you are much, much faster because you have become students. How many times does your instructor go, "What are you doing in 2?"
None.
Huh.
None, because
So-
whenever I get in the car, I say, here's my repertoire. Here's what I do. I've been racing lemons for 10 years. I have been on track for hundreds of hours, but I need somebody to tell me and show me the tenths that I'm missing. Why am I braking too early? How can I make this corner a little bit better? Where am I missing? And every time I get out of the car, I say, I have my whoever's been in the right seat has given me 3 circles on a map. They say, here's the map, here's the track. You need to focus on this one. You need to be on the gas earlier here. You need to brake less in this corner. And if your eyes were up in this corner, you would go faster.
So as a student, you're basically turning your level 2 co-instructor into almost personalized instruction.
Private
to
coaching.
Make you, but I say that as a lesson to anyone who's listened. You get into the car with your instructor and you lay out the expectations. This is what I would like.
Yes, absolutely.
Do it before the event. I try to talk to my students before the event, unless I already know them, but then I talk to them anyway.
In 2, you're not really assigned an instructor. There's instructors, but it's not like
that's true.
You are doing these 3 people.
That's true.
And
but still, you get the person in the car, you can give them a quick resume, like a 30-second elevator speech. Here's what I've done. Here's what I need you to do.
Exactly
Let's
what
go.
I do.
And I've instructor with NASA and I'm an instructor with other organizations, but NASA Great Lakes really has it down. And, but I've been okay, this is level 2, guys, go sit on a wall and then see if anyone waves you over. And if not, feel free to just randomly jump in. And, yeah, I occasionally over a weekend will find an aggressive student, but I've never had a student where I get into and they go, I do this, I want these 4 things.
But it would be great if you did, though, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
Well, but it's a different mentality. It depends why you're there. I do that. I get in, I tell you my repertoire, I tell you what I do and what I want to get out of this. What are your goals? Here's what I need to do. I'll tell you what the corners I have, but I'm not typical. So
No.
when most people are getting in there, we know if we can list off, Jeff and I can list off the cars that were aggressive, the cars that weren't watching, the cars that were bullshit, that were all over the place or holding everybody up. Like we have our own. This means nothing to most of you people. Ding. You have our right. It had these people that you're just like, oh yeah, it's that guy. So
Yes,
every
we had that guy quote.
Right, that guy.
Well, just like so both of you guys have level of SA higher than most, but what I want to get out there to listeners, especially someone who might be considering this sport, is tell your instructor what you want, even if you can't verbalize it. They might have the vocabulary you need. Be aggressive with your instructor. Instructors appreciate it.
And I think what if you're requesting you don't know what you want, I think you can come up with the words to say what you don't know what you want. If you just want to go faster, that's a thing.
Better, that snaky left.
I want to go a little
Mm-hmm.
faster. That is a sufficient answer, I think. Especially depending on the levels you're going to, so yeah, I don't want to say that I go in with a goal and I think everybody should have a goal when you go on the track, whether it's your first time on track or it's your 52nd time on track. I think having some kind of goal, and actually Jeff and I are yelling between our cars about what our goals are and reminding each other of what we should be doing next time we're on track. Because that's
excellent.
That's how dedicated we are.
Happy birthday! I brought my dog. He's cute.
Or don't forget your eyes are up. I'm gonna brake later. And we're just trying to helmets with what do you call it, Hans, and we're trying to talk outside of each other. The car is way over there, and you're like, I'm gonna brake later. And I was like, don't forget your eyes are up.
We ended up coaching each other, but I will say and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to suggest 2 podcasts to go back to listen to, and I'm going to go like this for the YouTube audience because I'm going to make them appear. I've never done that before.
No, he's not.
Yes,
no,
I am.
Not.
So episode 96 is the NASA Pitt Race HPDE review last year.
All right.
And episode 101 is the vision episode where we talked about the dots and eye movement and stuff. And those were great refreshers and still great lessons. I just think our instructors were a little bit behind the ball with the new system. Give them a couple more, not having right seat.
COVID, right.
So give them a couple more to kind of reset what they're doing, and I think it will be great again.
Actually, I'll just speak to all of that because that's really what my thoughts were on this whole experience. So I think I went in with appropriate expectations, knowing that Chris stop pointing. Chris came up with all this. This is how we're going to do. Here's all the hand motions that we're going to do when we're not in the seat with you. I think really we thought we might be able to get away with a little bit of right seat, having Chris and I be husband and wife. And stop it, you guys. Gosh, you're so distracting. You should just watch the video because it's funny. So we were trying to, we thought we'd have a little bit more, say, okay, we're husband and wife. We'd be able to do that. We did it once. Somebody was like, the guy on pit lane was like, yeah, you can't do this. And then we didn't do it again. I think maybe you might have done it
twice. We did it once in the Mazda and once in the Honda.
Right. We got in trouble in the Mazda. Nobody gave us a problem in the Honda. And then I wanted to throw up. But anyway, we'll just talk about that later. I think that, so I think my expectations were appropriate, knowing that we couldn't do a whole lot of right seat and figuring out what they were going to do with that. But I think that there were a lot of things missing how we did this. So I was excited. First of all, excited to be on track. Brush off the rust. Really, I think that was
absolutely
right. That was
that was
Jeff's
the best
answer.
Thing.
What do you
Rust
say
remover.
First time you get on track or first time you do anything in a very long time, it's rust remover. So it's half of it was just getting in the seat, remembering with shift patterns. So I went from the Mazda warm up in Saturday morning, which is a lot of 3, 4, 5. I don't even think I went into 6th, but
No, I don't think you even use 5th in the Mazda, really.
Okay, 3, 4, a lot of 3, 4, and then I got into the Honda, which is all 4, 5, 6. So I was in 4th, and it was redlining at me, and it was yelling, and I was like, "Am I in 2nd?" And no, because this is just how this car is geared. But you forget when you translate between 2 cars, and I realized that I was in very wrong gears, and then I realized that I was very slow and had to adjust what I was doing between the 2 cars.
When you drive 6 cars in a weekend, you start to get used to like
sure.
Well,
this was between session 1 and 2. So one of those, like, you warm up and you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm going around the track. That's great. And then I get in the other car and I'm like, what's just happened?
It couldn't be much more different between those two.
Well, maybe not, because I went from the 1.6 Miata to the 2.4 liter big block Honda Civic with the K swap. And all of a sudden, I didn't remember that you're supposed to modulate the gas. So I was
smash and smash.
I was like,
you do smash and smash.
100%, 100%, 100%, 100%. And all of a sudden I'm like, why is the Honda not turning right?
It's Pitt Race. Somebody sing the song.
Modulating the gas. Modulating the gas. And I sang the song, but until you get in the car, do you realize that you're supposed to be modulating the gas?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, is that it?
And if I missed this, I apologize. How did the big block Mazda do? Because I imagine it needed some modulation of the gas.
We'll get there.
Okay.
We're not talking about cars yet.
No. This is theory on HPDE in COVID world. So brushing the gas, so you're brushing off the rust. There's a lot of those, like, how do you get in this car? Shift patterns.
Well, Chrissy, what did you say your rust was? Like, you guys both had, like, my rust is this. So this is Chrissy, what was your rust?
Because Jeff's so insight.
My rust is modulating the gas.
No, it was not actually, because I got in there. I was like, I don't need to brake here. Modulate the gas. So my okay, so hold on. Give me 1 second. So getting in the car, you're just thinking of, like, the shift pattern, but also, like, how does it turn? Eyes up, halfway
eyes
through
up, absolutely.
Halfway through my first
memory.
one, I was like, oh, I need to be looking over there. And then most of Saturday and then into Sunday, I was just like, I am not looking up. I'm hesitating, braking early, because I am looking exactly at that apex. I am stopping, looking at that cone. I am not looking up straight up the hill where I should be, and that's why I'm hesitating. So it's that secondary theory of, like, why am I not moving faster? And that's what you remember when you get back on track. You're like, oh, these are the things I'm supposed to be doing. The first time you get in the car, you're just like, oh wait, I'm in a car. I'm in a harness. I'm shifting, and then you're like, oh, here are the racecraft things you're supposed to be thinking about when you get into the car. Okay, I just needed to get off that soapbox.
And I'll say that another piece of rust that I had was overdriving.
Right. So this is your theory of our Rusty and why Chris is amazeballs when he gets in the car and he makes me want to die, and then why Jeff and I are behind Chris.
You don't make me want to die, Chris. You just make me want to go like half a second faster.
Okay, stop all of this. Stop all of this. Jeff, please give your insight, because it's very insightful.
I with the last time I raced, we were trying to win.
Thompson.
And no,
New Hampshire.
And
we were in second.
And we were in second, and I drove my bazingas off, and I was trying to go as fast as I can. And if you overdrive a little under those conditions, it's okay, because you're trying to win. And when you're trying to perfect your lines and you're trying to learn and you're trying to do those things, you don't need to be at 9/10. You need to go back to smooth as fast and do things right and, perfect your lines. In race conditions with 130 cars on the track, it is go, 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 go. In lines and instructing and point buys, it is it is a more fluid dance. And I had to refresh my memory that this was dancing time, not slam dancing time. And I spun the Miata and went four off.
Whoa.
Oh,
You
yeah.
spun the 1.6?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely over driving. It was the second lap in a session,
All right.
and the tires were cold, and
Say the theory. Say you gave a whole soliloquy of like, okay, I got out of the car. Yes, you did. You and I are sitting in the shade. So I got out of the car and I was like, frick this noise. Chris is full on gas all the time. And I got out of the car and I was like, get me out of this car.
Oh, this is when you took a ride with me? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in the right seat I'm in the right seat. And
the Civic or the Mazda?
No, in the Civic. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is after I get out of the Civic, I'm getting into the car after this. Chris is like, yeah, I'll take you out. No problem. And for some reason I wasn't ready for this because it was, and really to preface, and everybody knows this, when you're in the right seat and you are not in control, things are faster. Things feel out of control. And I was like, we're going to die. I was like, I have to keep telling myself the whole, 15 minutes, Chris is the best driver I know. He's not going to kill me. Yet it felt so fast that I was like, I don't even know. I got out. I had to do 5 deep breaths and I had to be like, I'm going to get in this car and I'm going to try to get around the track, not be that fast. So I got out of the car after that and Chris was not around and Jeff and I are sitting and doing our debriefs. Yep, our own debriefs. So right, because our downloads, which we can talk about later, our downloads were not as good as we hoped. But, Jeff and I are doing our own downloads. And I said, I got out of the car. And Chris was like, so fast. Jeff says, you want to say this? Remember?
I don't remember what
this?
I said.
Oh, goodness gracious. So he says,
you've been drinking at the time. So
it's just like the podcast when Bill sends me a text the next day and says, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what did I say on the podcast that Bill is texting me about?
Okay. So you literally said this. So he said, both of us have our own ways of being rusty. Jeff's way of being rusty is overdriving. You were trying to get everything out of the car and you were just going overboard. When I'm rusty or when I am out of practice, I go slower, right? Yep. So I work up to it. I'm careful. I am just like, I'm pussyfooting. I'm lifting in the middle of corners or I'm lifting in the middle of straights, just for no reason, just be like, I'm a little scared, like that's just how I work up to it. And Jeff is like, I feel like I have to drive way more. So I'm going to overdrive. And that's why he spun. So these are our ways of kind of like coping and like getting up to speed. And then there's just Chris who just gets in the car and is just like, here, I just knocked 2 minutes off this time. It's not 2 minutes, but it's like kind of like
2 whole minutes.
I do
went
remember that.
Went from a 422 to a 222.
Kind of.
I said my fear never overtook my ability to drive until I started getting black flags and I had to like refresh my bubble. And, I had that whole Allen moment where, in my career as a driver, but Chrissy needed to learn confidence to go fast. And I think the confidence may have been lost in the rust while I lost my ability to put the car where I wanted to and to remember to modulate and to be smooth. I lost my smoothness. Chrissy lost her testicular fortitude.
You didn't say that. You didn't say that in the hot. I don't mind the testicular because I think there's the metaphor of balls in a wheelbarrow is fine all day when you are, if that's what you have. So I'm good with that.
Chrissy and I are pretty close to the same speed. Chrissy's probably a little faster than me when we're both perfect or as perfect as we can be because she's more consistent because I'm more likely to make an error.
Sometimes. Or push it a little.
Push it a little too far. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So that was our tiny download, which we had lots of downloads because as I started to say, so really overall, so here's my idea. So I'm going to go back to my notes here. So some of the problems we had. So everybody has masks on. No, not everybody. I apologize. There's a lot of people had masks
90%.
on. There's plenty of people that had no masks that they saw anywhere. I just, people would walk up to you and they just didn't have it in their pocket. They didn't have it on their ear. They didn't have it anywhere. They just didn't have masks on. So
Plenty of people with it under their nose.
yes,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah,
I'm being safe.
There's a word for that now, poker or
Oh.
something, but basically they call it's the camel under the tent theory.
Sure.
But yeah, and it's the
there's-
nose thing.
There's plenty of people when you look
at the lemons race, no, you're not allowed to. Jay will yell at you over the PA.
So, but when you're standing with a group of people, there was nobody. Occasionally there's one guy who forgot his and he had a hat over his face. Like you're just trying to cover, and that's fine. But most of us would look at each other because obviously Jeff, Bill, and I were all in too, and so we were all kind of standing with each other, and we were just kind of like you were obviously because we were without masks, standing next to each other. So we would kind of talk to each other, and plenty of people were around. But the bigger problem was that our instructors all had masks on, and it was very difficult to hear anybody. So there were plenty of people that were trying to either talk in a parking lot, trying to talk in the classroom. The classroom has serious vaulted ceilings, which is lovely. It's a beautiful room. Terrible acoustics. So you can't hear anybody, and they're all just like, no, you can't hear me at all. And you're just like, come on. You're sitting there and just trying to figure out what the fuck you're saying. So that was the biggest thing. And then we stopped listening. So it's kind of like that was a difficult.
We did get yelled at once for not paying attention.
Oh, you got yelled at. Legit yelled at.
Not yelled at, but we get the please pay attention.
No. Hold up. You said yelled at, and Chrissy said legit yelled at. You went not really yelled at.
Yelled at.
Came over to me and was like, do you know what I just said? And Jeff gave him the wrong answer because he was just like, yeah, I don't even care. Because you couldn't hear him.
Yes. So we were on the side of the track at a picnic table trying to maintain social distance with about close to 30, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Close to 30 people.
Yep.
So even with masks on, I'm not crowding in there. So we're kind of separated apart. And 50, 75 feet in the other direction is an actual race with actual race cars going by.
Yes.
And down the straight, their pipes are at full blast.
Yeah.
And there's no sound system, and they're kind of like not yelling, and sometimes you didn't hear them.
And there's plenty of them that took their mask off to talk, which doesn't help anybody, but like you're trying to understand what they're saying. And so that was really a big thing that we really struggled with most of the time, I think, because when you're trying to get instruction, you're having a conversation with people and you're trying to either be asked questions of who had what problems and what did you do at this time and who had a good time and what are your goals for next session. When everybody has masks on and you're not actually trying to talk louder or do something about it, it was difficult. All right.
And I should say when we weren't paying attention was because we were talking about our own downloads.
We were true.
We weren't talking about like, what are you getting for
What's lunch?
Yeah, I know. It was like,
because Jeff, you have instructed before. You've been a right seat instructor.
I mean, we were actually just making plan for like who was going to be in front of each other when we were doing this next drill.
Because
like,
I know
that's what we were doing.
No, because just like we said before, when we were in the cars, we were pep talking each other. So I was saying, Chrissy, how did your session go? Let's do this next time. Let's do this next time. Anyway, let's talk about the cars. Should we get to the cars?
I have a couple of things.
Oh, go on.
Lack of in-car training was killer. Like we just talked about, like I needed somebody at some point in my weekend to tell me, you really need to be over there. Like this line could be so much better, but I never had anybody tell me anything close to where I should have been. I hope it was fine. I think it was okay, but that's kind of thing that I really like. I get something out of every time somebody's in my right seat to be able to say, you should have done this a little bit better. One thing that I forgot to add to even my notes, which is a high five to everyone and the whole world, is that basically every time I downshifted, I heel toed.
Whoa!
What? Yes, high fives. Yep, thank you. I did it. So high fives. So I was really happy. It worked out pretty well. I'm not rev matching yet, but at least I made the effort to do so, and it worked, and it was fine, I guess. But at least it's something that I practice. Yes, mental.
Traditional heel toe or sidestep? Actual heel on the brake, or was the ball of your foot on the brake and you're using the outside of your foot for the gas?
It all counts, by the way.
It does. Yeah, there's no wrong answer. Just
I don't know if anyone's ever used the heel on the brake. I think heel on the brake's a terrible way.
Oh no,
I've
heel
seen-
on the brake?
I've
I
seen
struggled.
heel on the gas.
Heel on the gas is
Right.
usually what I've seen.
I struggled for so long with heel toe because my leg just doesn't bend that way, and I
Yeah.
thought that's the
Oh,
only way to do it.
hell
And then someone-
no.
And then someone goes, "It's a phrase. Just use the ball of your foot, and then move."
No,
your
if
knee
anything, I
outside."
use my big toe on the brake. That's my big toe on the brake, and then either the side. I think it's mostly the side of my foot because the Honda has it it's set up so perfectly, so Chris can do it all the time. It's so close that you can do it. So I do the side of my foot, I believe. Although throwing out my Pumas. So mad.
So by the end of the weekend, you were in the Honda, not in the big block.
Yeah, so I
Pretty much most of the weekend.
I spent all my weekend there. Okay, all right. Very last thing, rerun of topics. So when you do a bunch of years in a row, basically we had the same topic over and over again. There was a couple of new videos, but not much. So it's all those things like Jeff said. Go listen to the old show. We'll have some other topics in a different show, but basically, it was kind of a rerun. We had a lot of the same conversations, which is good if you're new to this sport. If you're new to this group, then it's okay. But we kind of felt like, meh. Kind of already saw this. So did we have fun? Yes, we did.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Were we hella hot?
Yes.
Yes, we were.
July.
Are we rethinking our HPDE steps? Yes,
Yes.
we are.
Well,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
we are.
Yes.
I want to know why, and tell me what you guys are thinking.
We are thinking about 3. We're thinking that HPD2 is not giving us enough. I mean, if next year there is more opportunity to have, the only reason why we're in 2 is because we wanted the time to get instruction. If we're not going to get instruction, right seat instruction, right? So if we're not going to get instruction and it's just going to be track time, then let's go to 3. We wasted a lot of time standing around in a parking lot waiting for people to talk to us on topics that we didn't care about. Not that we didn't care about. It was not useful discussion, rather. That's the words I'm looking for. So
was anybody running video?
we were not because we couldn't figure out how to do it at the time.
Okay.
We could, but then that adds a whole other element of time of having to sit and watch it all and figure it out. And
would have been
sort of
helpful.
manage your
We
day.
talked about it. I requested
and
it.
I don't mean for every student, but I'm saying if you guys are looking to move up to 3, because you're not getting the education you want out of 2 now, and in the education you're already getting, you have, so you want to learn in 3, not just practice. That's why I was asking.
Well, because the drills I think are a little more advanced in 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really what it was. Is the drills in 2 are fun? I didn't really learn anything on those drills.
You've done that. You've mastered that.
Yeah.
They were more waste of time and things that we already do that they're not teaching us anything. So if we're not going to be, I've placed myself in 2 for years because I've wanted that little bit of extra right seat time to have somebody in there to be able to say, this
Tighten
is
up that line. Break a little later.
Oh yeah, you could go a little. You could do this a little
Go
bit
deeper
better.
there.
But if I don't have that, then this is not.
Let's go to 3 and let's get the drills.
I
that are a
want
little
to
more advanced.
emphasize to all of our listeners that are going through this process, they're not skipping 2. They've been in 2 for too long. So go into 2. Don't think that, I could skip 2. Like Chrissy said, she's raced in 50 plus races. So
take your time at every level. Like many 1 students are so excited to get out of 1.
No, right. Jim has done just as many hours on track that I have, but when you go to 1 and he's that excited.
Yeah, they're all excited to get out of 1 and that boom, great. Now, congratulations. You don't get any instruction anymore, basically.
Yeah. I loved 1. I loved 2.
So is 1 still in car instruction, or the ones that just the lead follow?
Lead follow.
One's lead.
Rona.
Everything's lead follow.
Everything's lead follow. Okay.
Well, and I hate to divert to this topic, but we've talked about, is right seat instruction really going to be around forever because of the danger that doesn't have anything to do with the virus? I mean, people are dying in the right seat because you can now buy a 600 horsepower Camaro or Mustang with a freaking checkbook when you've never been on the track before in your life.
Fact.
And the answer is, objectively, should it? Maybe. Subjectively, personally, I say no. I want somebody sitting in my right seat.
Like a lot of other things, this situation has forced acceleration of changes that were already kind of thought of or on the way.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, who knew we were going to get so political and
Yeah.
societal? I mean, but it's absolutely true. Let's
talk
talk
cars.
about cars.
Okay, let's talk about cars.
Go, Chris. You say.
Well, we'll start with the Mazda because that was the new thing this week. So, quick background for our listeners who don't know what it is.
The new hotness.
2007 Mazda 3 that Chrissy bought brand new. It's a 3S hatch. It was a 2.3 liter 5-speed. It now has 248,000 miles on it and is now a 2.5 liter 6-speed over the years. Has front brakes from a Mazda Speed 3, rear brakes from a 5.
That's a Ford Fusion motor.
Yep,
That
sure
it
is.
That ain't no Mazda motor.
It's got a Coney shocks, iBox springs, and we just put some ST43s on it. So, Chrissy, you took it out first. How was it?
It was fine. It was fine. So we put new brakes on it, but it was great. I took it out beforehand to bed the brakes. I did a little bit of bedding the brakes and then didn't do enough bedding the brakes. So I was like, that's good enough. And Chris is like, did it smell? And I was like, no, that's good enough. We got out and we had uneven transfer layer. It shuddered like nothing.
No, I didn't know that.
It squeaks now.
It got better.
Like, it is better, right? Even today, it's better. But it squeaked like anything. Like you could just hear it from a mile away. So
that's just
fine.
race brakes. Race brakes,
right? On a stock
squeak.
car, on a a street car.
Mostly stock car.
No, it's not mostly stock. That car's a
Like, there's
Frankenstein. That car
Like
is
there's
not.
seats in it or stock. That's about it.
That's about it.
A
street car, right?
Yes.
There is not stock. Even the seats aren't stock. Because there's heat seaters or seat.
Heat seaters.
Stop it.
Uh-huh.
Oh gosh.
On the street to race car ratio, like we talked about last week, this car is still firmly 100% in the street car, even though how heavily modified it is.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we're getting there. So it was fine. That was a warm up again, super rusty. I am all rusty. I'm trying to figure out where everything goes. It's a warm up for everybody, so it wasn't so bad. I really didn't have any complaints about it. I think it was fine. Right?
Yeah. I thought it was surprisingly good, actually. It needs a diet, like it's obviously heavy. It needs an exhaust because you can't hear a damn thing.
No, I almost want to turn like the AC on. No, the AC kills it.
Give me a shot.
Radio.
If there's anything I know how to do, and that's make a loud exhaust.
Right, exactly.
Exhaust sounds like
definitely the exhaust.
Before you guys go crazy on the exhaust, and if I'm letting the cat out of the bag, I apologize. But I do believe there is a plan of this to live on the West Coast where every track has a decibel.
I know, but now it's just like a stock exhaust.
It's completely stock. It needs something. Like you cannot hear it at all.
Okay.
So it needs to have something. Anyway.
Could that something not be Jeff's version?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Okay.
Nothing will be Jeff's version. It's okay.
I was surprised that the body control was very good.
Yeah.
The Coneys did a great job. The alignment I did, it was spot on. The tires were great. There was a Continental Extreme Contact Sports on RX-8 18s.
I had no complaints.
The brakes were phenomenal, like phenomenal brakes.
ST43 is for the MF
right?
Win. I mean,
also but with the system, no fade, no issues.
Not at all.
Nothing.
Not even like all the brake.
They're also not Mazda 3 brakes anymore.
They're Speed 3. They're 12 and a half inch rotors.
Is there a turtle in front of you? Right up there. Oh no, there's a turtle.
So we did have an issue though, in that if I ran it really hard, which I did, I took it out and I I gave it the beans.
Jesus
Chrissy,
out of it.
Well, I think
Chrissy
I was in the car when. Yeah, I was in the car when.
Chrissy was in the car when I did. And how did it feel from the passenger seat? I mean, it felt composed and fine.
I mean, okay, we're doing it. Except for the time when you look down at the shifter, and you're just like, why did it stop?
What? Well, that's this. Is if you're driving hard enough for long enough, you get everything apparently good and hot. Coming into turn 12 and 13 at Pitt Race, all of a sudden it's like no power. I'm like, what's going on?
I was like, what's wrong?
Right up over the hill, the check engine light comes on. So we brought it in, and it was a misfire in cylinder 3. So we moved the cylinder 3 coil to 2. We swapped those. I took it out later on, and finally, when I got a chance to drive it hard enough for long enough, it again the same exact spot on track, through the exact same code, still in cylinder 3. So
Not
we're
the
guessing.
coil.
It didn't kill it.
It's not the
It didn't.
coil.
It didn't
No.
die. It was just. It
No,
just lived
once
too
it
long.
cooled off a little bit, it was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like it was just a brief misfire. So we're thinking it's like spark plugs, which I think have like 80,000 miles on them.
So all weekend there is a threat of I drove this here and I have to drive it home. So we cannot race this as a race car. And I'm looking at all the rest of the 10 cars that we have in the paddock and say, if this one dies, which one am I going to drive home? Because some
All
of them
those
have
have to drive
Miata.
home. Most of those have to drive home too.
Throw
ones
the
in back.
plates on the Civic, put the Mazda in the trailer. You know?
Never am I. No.
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 That'd be bad.
I would want to die. No,
Yeah.
I would have taken the Mazda or the
I would
Miata,
do
and
it.
no, you would not.
Hell yeah.
4
That'd be
hours.
fun.
4 hours.
No lights.
Plus.
With no lights. You're right.
No
Yeah,
lights.
no.
And
forgot
also,
about that.
Your skin shaker. No, that would be terrible. But no.
So anyway, the car made it home. We're gonna do plugs and coils
All
because
the
we
way
think that's probably good to get them rid
And
of the
some
misfire.
suspension
Okay.
parts.
Yep.
Because going through a parking lot, I was like, this car has got
yeah.
something wrong with it.
We definitely chewed through the sway bar end links, which are original to the car, by the way, 250.
So it sounds like I
it's
don't
time
even know
for
how to
new
make
sway
it.
bar end links. We finally
I don't
did
even
those
know.
in.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was like,
so
there's
that's
problems.
the Mazda. The Civic. I'll be quick. Civic is the Civic. It's brutal. It's fast. It's immediate in everything you do. It is a sensory assault, and it is very challenging to get the most out of it.
But the new
Anything else?
new seat setup is
New seat is
great.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love new seat.
I am so looking forward to that because I've back in I think 2009 I started complaining about the seating position in most of the race cars, and I think
I'm sorry, this thing didn't
I think
change
in
until
2000 in
Hamza gets in
2008,
the
a
car.
year before we met, Chris told me to shut up about the seat.
Right?
Chrissy, I had been just as upset with that seat, and I said,
Let me give
before
you the Z
Hamza got in the
formation.
car, I said, I'm going to fix the seat this winter.
Yeah, and Hamza
That was
was like,
already
you
in my
should fix
head.
this. And Chris is like, that's a great idea.
No, I said I
What-
already was going to do that.
What took longer?
Damn it.
Chris to fix the seat for you people or him to give me a dead pedal?
I wanted a
Oh,
dead
no,
pedal too.
we like
but
dead
it
pedals.
broke off.
That's not a thing.
It broke off. Anyway,
The one time I, like, rolled
Keep going.
Keep going.
I want to say something about the Civic before we get off because I did one shift in the Civic and it was wonderful and
Could have given you
everything you said
more.
is perfect. No, it was fine because I was doing what I was doing and you were doing what you were doing. No matter how loud the pipes are, that girl in the blue and white Miata would not get out of my damn way, and I was flashing the pipes at her. That's one of my favorite things.
No Godzilla head this time.
I know.
Godzilla had been
Man.
there. Yeah.
I mean,
Man, I
doesn't
love
matter.
revving that thing when you're behind somebody
We still
because it
push
is
the button.
so intimidating and just letting it pop through that exhaust, man. Everybody will get out of your way except that chick. Never mind. Go on.
No.
I think
There's a
she
couple
thought
cars
it
that
was
don't.
me.
Yeah.
I do.
Chris, how did Bill's the Garage Hero and Training's BMW do? I love the new livery.
Let's talk about them.
Car's great. It's there's a reason E36s are popular, and there's a reason they do well, is that they're very, very good. And this car, despite being hacked together in several ways, mostly in the wiring department, it is a tragedy the way that car was wired by previous owners. The suspension is actually set up quite well, and what they've done some more things in the suspension to make it a little bit better. They've put enough tire under it finally.
Yeah,
Like they've got enough tire under it. They got the alignment correct.
which was something you had to fix at Thompson.
Yep. So the car is easy. It's neutral. It's easy to go fast. All the controls are light. If anything, I think they're also almost even too light. Like the steering is almost too light. There's a reason they're popular. It's very good. It's fun to drive. It's easy.
And we should mention
problem.
that this is an actual E36 non-M spec, unlike all the other cheaters out there in their
Yeah.
purple or
It
red
really is. It's
E36s.
328.
I'm channeling my inner Hamza. Shut up.
But at some point, because we have plenty of time to sit
Look
around,
at you,
especially
Amanda.
oh,
We know it's an
especially
M.
sitting on Sunday, where Bill is comparing to all of the lap times at old Pitt Race, the last race, comparing his car, and he was like, "Oh well, Hamza's car 132 did this lap," and I was like, "Do not compare yourself to that. That's not the same.
It's not the same car.
And he was like, and I was like, No.
Don't.
You're comparing apples and genetically modified by super scientist apples
Maybe
that have been
so, yeah.
created in a
Yeah.
No, it's
sterile
like,
laboratory.
do not make yourself feel bad. It's okay. You're okay.
Okay. Any other comments on the Civic?
No,
Chrissy?
but let's talk about all the Miatas that Bill brought.
But there's a great picture on the Garage Heroes and Training's Instagram of all of the cars, and it goes Scion, Big Block, Gojira, Miata, Beamer. It's actually a fantastic pick.
Yeah. All right,
Brandon, I
Miatas.
think.
I drove them all. So the ND, it's an ND2, huge body roll. Like Mazda needs to fix that. But yep, there's the picture. Got it.
Godzilla looks so good.
She does.
It's something.
So does that Mazda.
Yeah.
3 anyway.
Great. All right. So now that I lost my notes because when the screen sharing, it blew that up. Anyway.
ND2.
ND2, huge body roll, faster than expected though. Like what you've got to get the revs up in the ND2. Like it's all the powers up top, but the body roll is such that it actually makes transitions hard, and you have to hang on because it'll haul so far over one way and then kick so far over the other way, especially like turn 3 to 4 at Pitt Race. You have to be very careful with your transitions. And after coming out of like the Civic and things where the transitions happen right now, it takes a bit of getting used to. But it's definitely it has a great interior. The steering feel is great. The brakes are good.
It's
And-
pretty too.
Yeah. And you can get in right away and push hard. Like
Yeah,
there's no real like warm up. You just kind of start going and it's friendly and happy and you can push it. That car is a set of Flying Miata Fox suspension coilovers and wider wheels away from being phenomenal. But the suspension does kind of let it down. It's just too floppy for a track car. For the street, it's kind of fun. Like you throw it in a corner, you kind of feel it. Oh, isn't that fun? For the people who, have them just as their back road car. But if you're on track, it needs the suspension. Okay.
Other Miatas?
Do you have the Turbo NB? It's a Flying Miata turbo kit. It's got KYBs,
Stage
and some springs, and
Flying
the
Miata,
boost is down a little bit this time. Keep it alive on track. It was only like
So-
9 pounds of boost instead of 12.
Isn't that Vicky's personal?
Yeah, it's Vicky's car, her fun car. When I took it out, the rear shocks were set at 1. So it was so underdampened. So when you'd go over odd bumps and things, the back end would just kind of bounce around. And Chrissy's going to tell you that she told me all about this.
I will.
And I said,
And then we
you need to use- you need
mansplained.
to- No, it wasn't mansplaining. You need to use better words.
Oh,
'cause
I
it's
just said the
doing different
suspension's really
things.
soft, and it goes like this. It's weird. I'm really surprised that was not my expectation.
Well,
so
you just
apparently
got
my
out of the
expectation.
Civic, which everything is softer than the Civic.
Yeah. This was just every time I went over in a corner, I was like, wow,
Well, now
slid
you know.
everywhere.
Now you know what underdampened shocks feel like.
I do that. I know that.
I'd like to mention that when I spun Miracle the Miata, my shocks were also on the wrong setting. Because
Yes,
as Chrissy
that's
told me
the
over the
problem.
weekend, you got a lot of excuses, man.
So I feel like that's
Truth.
another part of your rust, because usually you're pretty excuse free. You just own it. But maybe you haven't been on track for a while.
No,
you
I'm a
remember
whiner.
back
I
to
admit it.
college days.
I
You're a
blame my
whiner.
brother when we're late.
Well,
I blame
in
my
your
house
defense
for
on
not
that
having a
one,
big
your
enough
brother-
garage.
Your brother did almost get all the way to your house and have to turn around.
It's true.
The last thing I was to say about the Turbo NB is it's basically like a classic normal Miata feel, the original NA NB Miatas, but turned up to 11. And it can haul when you can, but I was taking it easy because it also got a little warm when I was really giving it the beans for long enough. So
Also, it wasn't our
that's-
car, so
Yeah.
don't do that.
absolutely, no, you're driving someone else's car. You drive it with respect. You're not going to
Mhm,
push it
mhm,
100%. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Right.
When I drove
you-
the 86, I did the same thing. I wasn't all the way up.
So talk about the 86. How'd that feel for you?
I liked it. I really, really liked it, as a matter of fact. So we borrowed it to drive back and forth to the hotel because we didn't have air conditioning in our funky trailer.
Anything? You're anything.
Anything. So, Bill just likes to give out cars. That's like his favorite thing. He's car Santa. So he's
Yes.
like, oh, take the 86, whatever. So anyway, we took it to the hotel, and so I got to drive it on the street first, and then I did a session in it, and I think that is if you're out there shopping for a track car, the 86 is a really, really good choice. It could use a little bit more kick in the pants, a little bit more. Out of the 1.6 tired NA, it felt like a champ. But yeah, I definitely felt on the street it could have used a little more.
The torque dip in those is real. Like if you look at the dynos on it, they're like torque comes up and then just drops at like 3,000 RPM until 5,000 RPM. Like there's this weird torque dip that the tuners have figured out a way around and have made a massive difference in the mid range. But you've got to kind of keep that on the boil to keep it going.
Yeah, that car is a great chassis that should have got the 2-liter turbo motor from the WRX.
Should have gotten a non-Subaru motor. That would have been good.
Wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's designed for that flat 4. So
I know, which is a shame because Subaru still doesn't know how to build an engine right.
Yeah.
Or neither does Toyota.
Yeah.
Well, Toyota doesn't do anything with that. Subaru built that car.
That's what I'm saying. Is they're like, oh, in our other sports car, let's hire somebody else to build the engine and chassis.
The whole car, the entire thing. Yeah, 86. I think it handles really well for a stock car. If it with some good tires on it, like really impressive handling. Interior feels kind of cheap.
Yeah, a little cheap car.
It's
fun zoomer.
Easy. Also easy to drive fast, and I think it's a good size. Like bigger people fit in it, but it doesn't feel big. So,
trunk was decent.
Yeah, no, like if you're looking for a reasonably priced hardtop track car, you could do way worse than that. I think it's a nice car,
and it's a 2-seater. There is no back seat. There's a back seat, but it's not. They're
vestigial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just talk a little bit about the mighty Miracle Miata because it also was running hot, and we know that it is probably down on some horsepowers. They've definitely
how many miles on that thing now?
Oh, who knows? I couldn't even tell you.
It still starts with a 1 though, doesn't it? It's not up to 2 yet.
I don't know.
You drove it all weekend. You didn't stare at it.
I didn't even look. I'll be honest with you. Right. I've owned it for how many years? So it's a little tired, and you got to pedal the Jesus out of it to keep up. And I think that actually got in the way of my learning this weekend because I was having to pedal so hard. Oh, hi, kitty. And it started getting hot, and Jim and I looked under the hood and we were like, hey, this car has like an air conditioning compressor on it. I wonder if it's got a condenser. And it did. So yeah, we yanked that
out of that.
So we yanked that out, and Chris is like, your plastic like stuff in there is all messed up. It's not even close to like wrapping the radiator. So little piece of aluminum, removal of some vestigial air conditioning components. Man, she runs cool as a cucumber right now.
It's amazing when you actually duct air through the radiator and don't put something in front of said radiator. It works better.
Yeah.
You worked hard on it though. You did a great job.
You did.
And you made a really nice a pan for it looked really nice. You did a really good job with that.
Thanks.
We ate chips and had drinks and watched Jeff do it.
Yes.
It was good.
And they
all those things.
They cheered me on the whole way. They're saying,
Chris
your
was
hair looks great, man. You're doing a great job down there.
You smell awesome.
Wait a minute. So if I don't show up,
your personal hygiene is beyond reproach this evening.
Jeff gets hair compliments when I'm not around.
We were providing moral support.
It was all a joke.
Sarcasm.
My hair was not fantastic. And I did not smell like a rose at all.
Nope, not even a little.
Anyway.
Nope.
All right.
So can I throw out a quick on the spot?
Well, before we get there.
It's not on the spot. This is just a quick on the spot.
Oh, okay.
Middle of the show on the spot.
Got it.
If we're going to do more track days and Jim doesn't want to share a car and the Miracle's not fast enough anymore, what do we get? Jim's buying it.
A 4.8 liter 300ZX.
No, that's mine. That's mine. What is he going to get?
That he fits in.
So we were Googling things and we came up with a couple of ideas, and I want to see if any of you have any suggestions.
All right. Budget?
5, 7.
Okay. And any other preferences?
Rear wheel drive.
Rear wheel drive. Okay.
Stick.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You're gonna hate my answer, but
Guys,
I'm right.
no, I'm not. Go on.
36.
Interesting.
S197 Mustang.
Oh, that's actually something we did not discuss.
Okay.
We discussed E36.
Little solid rear axle action. I like it.
They're cheap. They're durable. The Jim will fit in it. Parts are everywhere.
Yeah, you get an S197 for like $1.
I don't even know what that is. What is this? What is
Actually,
this?
05 to like 08 Mustang.
Yeah. It's
The
like
the last
body
vestige
styles
of the
back.
Fox body. Yeah.
No, it's
No,
not
it's
the
not
Fox
Fox
body.
body.
It's after the
No.
Fox body.
It's not the Fox body.
it was the first retro looking Mustang.
Yeah.
Right, but
Which
a
didn't
lot
have
of
any.
the-
No, that's the one before. That was the SN95 was still mostly Fox body, and that carried all the way up to 04.
Thank
the
you.
first
Thank you.
retro-looking one
Okay,
was
yeah.
the S187, then that was not, and that's why it
But-
actually is okay, because the Fox body
Yeah.
ones still suck. I don't understand why people like that platform. Anyway,
And now I'm gonna throw this out there just to either make you jealous or confound you. You said 5 to 7.
We could probably go to 10.
Well, no, 5 to 7. E46.
no
are-
limit
are out-
slips
are-
in E46s. That's the
they're-
problem with them.
They're out here all day long, and they are plentiful in junkyards. And
E90s are starting to show up in that price range. Actually, if you get a 328,
Mhm.
or actually a 128 would be a great way to go. Because
Chrissy, there's an
same thing.
S197.
Thank you, Chris.
Got
I got my builds wrong. Yeah, I was thinking the 195. Yeah, which is also not a terrible car, having driven one on a track.
Yeah,
But,
I guess I was thinking 195 also when you first brought it
Yeah,
up. So
not
197.
the Fox body, not the last gasp of the Fox body.
Yeah.
But,
So actually, we talked about current generation 6-cylinder Camaro or Mustang, which can be had in the 10 range. But then we Googled it and realized it was probably a little more than that.
it
Yeah.
could be, but you're not going to find one with a stick.
they're there, but they're unicorns.
Hen's teeth,
Yeah.
unicorns. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And whoever bought that one bought it for a reason, and you can't have it.
Yeah.
Chrissy, have any thoughts?
I did have thoughts, but I thought I was missed, so I put them away. My thoughts
We'll
are
pick them
not.
up.
I was thinking an XB with a swap. It's a Toyota.
A Scion XB?
Yeah, he can fit. So I was trying to think of what's the best thing
That is the most
That's-
un-Chrissy
that's
answer in the
terrible
history of
answer.
Chrissy answers.
It's also not rear drive, but,
No, it's not.
which was a
but it's-
requirement.
Oh well, okay.
Yeah.
Then
If
don't
rear
take
drive
my-
is not a requirement, then get an 06 to 11 Civic Si, and like there you go.
Yeah. I think he wants rear-wheel drive. We came up with maybe a Chrysler Crossfire.
No.
Hell yeah!
We
be
came
great.
up with a V6 Camaro or Mustang, and we also may have discussed a 350Z.
Okay.
Also out here all day long. Now, they are well below your budget if you find the drifted ones, and you will need all of that to fix everything that they broke on it.
Yeah, I don't know if
Right?
he's gonna fit. They're kind of tight inside, but totally possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Same with a
and
Crossfire though. They're
he
not.
probably
He's not gonna fit in
can
a Crossfire.
and he's never going to find a stick shift Crossfire. He
They
can.
come up surprisingly
Oh
often
yeah,
around here.
we found a
actually.
bunch of them.
with a
That was on our short list
The
for a lemon scar. There's
non-SRT
a lot of them.
version, you can find a good decent
much-
amount of them.
Interior
With a
room is it
stick.
more
Seriously, mental. I can
than
go find you
the
one right now.
Solstice?
You
Um,
win. Good
He
on you.
didn't fit in the Solstice, he said.
But the
'Cause we
did?
350Z, Jim's
No.
going to have a hard time getting in there, keeping his brim flat.
That's what I think.
He's not going to.
That's a
Yeah.
good
We
one. I
also
like
we
it.
also discussed the Ratty Boxster.
No.
Yeah, that got thrown out.
No.
I just want to tell you
Well,
that.
Yeah,
right
no.
and you can have them, and if you understand what they're doing, but they're hard to work on because you can't get to anything. And it is, while it is rear wheel drive, it will not have rear wheel drive dynamics on a track. It's a mid-engine car, and it does MR2 things.
And
on
you
a
pay Porsche parts prices.
Yeah, that got thrown
Versus-
away.
But
versus
they're
the
showing up.
Nissan
They're
and
showing up in the
Ford
pick and pulls here
prices.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 350Z I thought was a better choice than the Boxster
Yeah.
Agreed.
for similar
Alright.
size.
And I'm gonna throw one more out there.
All right.
Because you said 350Z G35.
Hard to
thing.
find in sticks. Yeah.
But
Yep.
the Z one will
Same
bolt
thing.
in.
Yeah. Same thing. All right. Let's keep going. Anything else on this topic? Have we beat it
Yes,
to death? Okay, go on.
we have not. Well, we have, but I still want to ask this question. So, and I'll throw this to the group, but so Chrissy, when she was talking about riding with you, and she said, everything is faster when you're a passenger. And in
Totally.
my case, that is absolutely not true. I feel like when I'm a passenger, like last year at Thompson, you took me out and I sat there and then we swapped and then I went out, but I sat there and I noticed everything. I was like, huh, they painted that car different from last year. Oh, okay. You know, and I like not having to operate the car leaves me, well, not having to operate the car at speed leaves me so much bandwidth. And so I didn't know if that was the same with you.
It feels faster because you're not the one doing it.
Okay.
I suppose if you can disconnect yourself from that and be like, I'm just going along for the ride, like I'm on the roller coaster and I don't really care, and because you trust who you're with and you stop thinking about it, then sure, I can see that. But I'm usually paying attention.
I'm analyzing. That's what I do the whole time.
Yeah.
Is I'm thinking. I'm just.
And I don't know that, and I think I was as well. I mean, first of all, maybe not, third or fourth time out on track it's been 10 months since I've been on track.
Fact.
So, so it's maybe one of those things where I was just kind of like not ready for it. I'm still kind of weird out, but I definitely noticed all kinds of things. The last time I was actually out on track with Chris, I think it was at Thompson, I was giving him pointers. I was telling him, you didn't track out far enough. I mean,
Which is great.
Right. No, I mean, I was doing that. So state of mind, maybe one thing. I absolutely think every time you're always feeling like you're going faster, but I definitely was looking for things. So while we were in class multiple times, the instructors were telling us that there were 3 different places that were self-serve fire extinguisher places,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
While I was out with Chris, I was looking for them and I was like, I do not see it at this corner. It's supposed to be, I couldn't find it, especially in 5. Apparently there's this red, they did
Red
orange
piece of
on
Armco. Yeah,
Armco.
orange and what? Yeah.
I didn't see it, but when I was in the car, I was like, well, I'm not driving. I might as well be looking for these things.
Yeah, if
I
I'm on
didn't see
fire,
'em.
I'm going to drive the extra tiny little bit to get to the corner worker.
Please. Right? To make sure, go to this self-serve location where you can
Chrissy,
do your
do you
own
remember?
fire.
Do you remember what I said when they said that?
No.
Just let Miracle burn.
Right? Just let them burn. It's fine.
okay.
Just leave it there. But that's the kind of things that I feel like I definitely looked at more. I was looking for things where I was supposed to be doing certain things. So I think I'm in both. I'm in agreement with you,
Okay.
Mental, that I do those things. It's not slow. It's not slower. It's not less. I'm still thinking about all of those things. I'm thinking about where he's putting the car and when he's sliding off and going into candies that you're not supposed to go into. There's that. And I
I
was
did that in the
you
Mazda.
do not do
Mazda.
that.
I did in the Mazda. That was it. Not
And
the
I was
Honda.
like, we're gonna die. No,
All right. So I guess I'm the weird one, but not
No,
so weird.
I'm with
Not
you.
so weird that you can't see it from here.
now we do it.
Totally.
The other question. So we've been iRacing now for the better part of a year. Not at the beginning of the weekend, but at the end of the weekend with at least training your brain. And Chrissy, I think I saw your hand first.
Oh no, Jeff's hand was first.
It's all right. My
Let's
answer's really
just
fast.
go with you anyway. Let's skip over Jeff.
No, hell no, no, and no, and no. Did iRacing help me? Not a single fucking bit.
Not a sausage. Me
Not
neither.
a thing. Not a thing.
Nope.
It did not.
Me neither.
Nope.
If I didn't know the track, it would be. That's when it's helpful.
Sure.
Is you learn
Yeah.
the track very well.
Even in
I know
cars that
Pittsburgh
are
well enough.
agreed, but even
Not
in
even
cars that
training
we
your eyes.
Nothing.
not at all.
I do
Huh.
not feel any benefit from doing so.
No, not with an
Okay.
Oculus. Not on cars that were close. Like Chris usually tries to find a front wheel drive car and tries to find something that we're like, oh, we like this kind of car. But it was nothing. It has not helped me one single bit.
Do you feel that's because of the level you are all at as drivers, or just in general?
In general,
In general. And Chris has actually noted that I brake less in iRacing and I brake so much more when I drive on the track. I do everything. I do a lot of things early on track and I don't brake. I just like fly off into the
Because
sky.
you don't, because the sensation of speed is not there
Absolutely.
in iRacing.
Not a single thing.
Okay.
I'll say
Different
great
sport.
for learning tracks and like shift points if you have a car that's close enough, and things like that. Elevation, right? That it's wonderful for that. But as far as actual driving, nah.
Okay. Thank you.
iRacing, they totally will not be sponsoring us after that
Nope.
discussion.
It's a
But
fun game.
still
it's fun
join
to play.
us Sunday night when
Yeah.
we do the Lemons iRacing.
It's
There'll be
it's
an endurance
fun to
race.
play
Monday.
with your friends.
It's great.
It's totally fun to get together with your friends and do some racing.
Don't play with
you
your
know,
friend.
and
Don't
play
play.
with your video game. It's
with your
good.
friend.
Don't kink shame me.
All right.
Just the tip. It's time. It's been a while since we've had a safety tip from the safety professional on the podcast.
Safety squirrel.
Not me. Somebody
It's
else
not.
wrote this. No.
I put it in there. I was hoping
Oh,
Chris would read it.
why don't you read
Ah,
it? Safe,
Safety
Mr.
right.
tip
Squirrel.
from Chris.
Mr. Squirrel.
Well, hey, it's hot as halfway up a snake's ass in a wagon rut out there.
Is that it?
Love
Is
that
what?
one.
Ask
That's from
ask
Jeff.
me what the lowest high was this week.
No.
103.
Keep going, Jeff.
Anyway, stuff still needs to get done. How do you do it more safely? So, according to the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, heat stroke is the most serious heat-related disorder and occurs when the body can no longer control its temperature. Body temperature can rise to 106 or higher within 10 to 15 minutes. Heat stroke can cause death or permanent disability if treatment is not provided. So, I've had some heat stroke. It sucks. Don't do that. So, here's 10 hot weather safety tips. 1, stay hydrated, drink plenty of fluids, 16 ounces before you start, and 5 to 7 ounces every 15 to 20 minutes. That's a lot of
drank
fluids, but you're
so
gonna
much
sweat it
fluids
out.
this weekend.
Yeah, totally. Easily.
Didn't
Avoid
peak clear
dehydrating
until
liquids.
Monday. Yeah.
Yep. Alcohol, coffee, tea, and caffeinated soft drinks can hurt more than help at times. Wear
I
protective
drank a
clothing.
lot of that shit.
Fake news.
Purple drank. Purple drank.
A lot of coffee.
Wear protective clothing, like lightweight, light-colored, loose-fitting clothing protects against heat. If it gets saturated, change it. Plus, a new shirt feels awesome after your old shirt is terrible.
It does.
Pace yourself, slow down, work at an even pace, know your limits and your ability to work in the heat. Take breaks, rest periods, water breaks in a shaded or potentially air-conditioned area. Chrissy?
Unless your spouse is whipping you and telling you that you have to continue going.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Hey, we found some shade.
Chris, what did
No
you
kink
do to
shaming.
make Chrissy whip you?
I was bad. I made her work on the boat. Use a damp rag to wipe your face or put around your neck. And we have those cooling towels this weekend, which are really nice. I
And
think
you
those were
lent
good.
one to me, and it was amazing. And I was
Until
like,
somebody thought it was purple. And Jim, he put it on me, and I was like, no.
that wasn't the cooling rag. That was like my dirty
I
rag.
was like, that's Jeff's, and that's gross.
This is what I look like all weekend long. I was like,
Huddled under his cooling towel.
and I owned them, and I didn't bring any.
Yeah. Avoid getting sunburned by using sunscreen, wear a hat and stuff. Be alert for signs of heat-related illness. Know what to look for and check on other workers that might be at risk. Avoid direct sun if possible. Try to get some shade. Shade matters so much. And eat smaller meals. Eat fruits high in fiber and natural juice. Avoid high-protein foods. So there. Be safe in the
Thanks,
heat.
Mr. Squirrel.
You're welcome.
This is awesome. I love having
It's awesome.
this. Does anyone know the next show promo?
We're gonna be ready for Thompson. We'll be back
What are-
in action. We'll be scrambling.
What are we gonna do at Thompson?
Well, we're gonna
We're
fry.
gonna
We're gonna
evaluate
fry.
data.
We're gonna be hot.
We're
and-
gonna dominate. Oh, the mouthpiece is missing from the trombone. I was gonna play something.
Yeah, we're gonna
Uh-uh.
dominate. We'll see.
What's funny is I know Chrissy was coughing into her elbow.
No,
when
I
she
was.
said, when she said we're gonna dominate, it totally looked like she was doing the wrestler.
Yeah, I know.
And the guns.
I just sneezed. I'm sorry. I was trying to get it out. We're gonna dominate. So next week we'll talk about our prep. We'll probably be a little scrambled because we're gonna be getting ready, and there's not gonna be any. It's gonna be just a minimal team of us.
But in our pre-pod, burning pod, Chris and I talked about, Chris is going to do a quick, because we may not be able to do an actual track walk at Thompson. Chris is going to do a verbal track walk. So use that Chrissy trick of drawing a map of Thompson and then listen to Chris as he bestows wisdom upon you. Because there's a lot of racers that have been missing out and they're going to Thompson for the first time.
I love the virtual track walks. Reversing the music. Oh, there we go. Okay. I had to put it back. We talked long. Thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It is totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button right there. If you hate us, give us 5 stars. Tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop a comment on the Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. Find us on the Instagram or the Twitters at everyone.racers. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless there is no shiny side, then just keep the wheels down.